Alright, welcome to The Real and the Scripted. This is our first episode. The reason it's called Real and the Scripted is because I feel like wrestling and MMA actually have a lot of similarities. And I feel like MMA would not exist without wrestling because most of the people who started MMA were former pro wrestlers in Japan. So that's why, honestly, I kind of got the idea from Ariel Helwani because he kind of pointed that out to me. Like, the character is very similar to wrestling characters. Like, think of all the promos UFC guys cut.
Yeah.
Very similar to MMA ones. Dana White's very similar to Vince McMahon.
I was just about to say that.
So,
Does Vince McMahon also hit women?
Probably.
Oh, sorry. This is that type of show.
they both don't value women very much. Is a good point.
Fair enough.
But, yeah, so that's why I named it this. I feel like it's very fitting because one is real fighting, one is scripted fighting, but they both have very real aspects to them.
And they're both very physical. So not that we're disrespecting wrestling, saying it's scripted. It's very real as far as physicality.
Well, especially because like there's been multiple MMA fighters who've went to wrestling and said it was harder.
Yeah, I mean the no days off stuff is really
days off, the choreography of it, learning how to take a bump,
trying to have charisma on the mic when you don't have interviewers asking you questions. You have to like
hitting the ropes is one of the hardest things to ever do.
I was gonna say Ronda Rousey showed that you can be successful without charisma
or wrestling talent. Anyway,
that was like the only time I was happy to see Charlotte was when she just returned and beat Ronda for the belt. I was like, oh, thank God. Her title run was trash.
I know, it's kind of like the lesser two evils. It's just like, do I want Ronda or do I want a female version of Ric Flair? He's always on top, always has the title. God
See, that's the only thing that bothers me about Charlotte, but she puts on good matches, I will admit. She's one of
I
the
would say quality, as far as quality wrestling, then Charlotte, and then you have like Bayley, Becky Lynch, like those of course your mainstay, but now we're getting like newer, new-ish talent because Rhea Ripley's been around for a while, but she's like now, like they're now letting her off the leash. And it shows, like even like with this last Raw with that
Dominic Prison Dom.
Yeah, Prison Dom.
Yeah.
Where they had
Did you see that?
He
came out like Prison Mike.
I've seen all the GTA basically. San Andreas memes.
Yeah, and then he had the teardrop, which was crazy. I didn't know it was a teardrop. I thought it was a jizz stain. I was like, oh no. I was like, oh no, Dominic, they turned you out in there. He was only in holding. I hope not.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna say that's like.
I hope not. But look at Ray's ink. Like, so I guess.
He has a necklace tattooed on him.
Can't even see Ray's ink. It just looks like a bunch of crap.
Alright, well, we're going to start off by saying how we got into wrestling and MMA. Who wants to start?
I'll go ahead and start. Wrestling for me was always big in my household. Like, my dad and my uncle are two of my biggest influences. My dad was a huge Roddy Piper fan. Huge. I mean, so much so that I've seen him do an eye poke to somebody. Like, wow. Yeah, I've seen that happen. He was like, yeah, so it just, so we would sit there and then we would watch like Monday Night Raw. And, of course, in the 90s when me and my brother would watch, WCW and like flip back and forth. But, I mean, wrestling has always just been in my family. Even like when I'd go over to my uncle's house, we'd watch Friday Night SmackDown or Thursday Night SmackDown, depending on the year.
Yeah, depending on the
year. But we would watch that, and it was always so fun, and it just seemed to bring us all together. So I mean, I still carry that love of wrestling to this day. Now, as far as MMA, like the reason why I like MMA is because of you guys. You guys introduced me to, I mean, the earliest person that I can think of, at least as far as me, is Randy Couture. That was like the guy, him and Matt Hughes were the fucking guys that we always rooted for, and no matter what, I mean, you remember all those times you're like, oh my god, he's gonna lose, oh my god, he's out, oh my god, I can't believe it. So it was, like, without you guys, I wouldn't have that, because you guys made it fun, and I just thought it was dudes in underwear just kind of grappling each other at first. And then you're like, oh,
That's how it
crap.
started off.
Yeah, you're like, oh, crap. These guys are badass. Like, I'm not lasting in the ring with any of these guys, or females for that matter. So,
Which way are you talking about?
I mean,
Not
there's some
lasting in the ring or the
pretty
bed.
hunky dudes out there. That's what's up. Hey, Wonder Boy.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, see, so the thing with us is I feel like we got into it the same way, both wrestling and MMA, kinda.
well, I know the exact way I got into wrestling. It was like 1996 or 7. And
Hulk Hogan was on top.
I was
Basically, for the 20 years
yeah.
before that.
I was home and just browsing through the TV, and I just happened to come across these guys fighting, and I was young at the time, so I was like, "Holy shit! This is awesome!" Like, and I remember telling Dad about it when he
6
got
years
home.
old. Holy
You're like, Dad, holy
Yeah.
shit, these guys.
It was really like that, and I Dad came home and I told him, I was like, "There's these guys fighting in a ring and stuff." And he was like, "Yeah, that's wrestling." And I was like, "What is that?" And it was WCW, by the way.
Yeah.
And so me and Christian were
I said it.
me and Christian were WCW
Come at
guys
me, Eric Bischoff.
for years,
Yeah.
for a long time. We were WCW. Then when we switched was when Dad switched it for us that night. That WCW was like, "Oh, Mankind, Mick Foley's gonna win the belt. Who wants to see that?" And I remember my dad going, "Oh,
I want to
him."
see that.
And he switched, and then we found out about WWF. We
And
didn't know that
that's-
there was
yeah.
2 at the time.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then we got into WWF because that's when WCW started getting really bad.
Yeah, I would say probably since it was like a couple weeks, because I was like 3.
Yeah.
3 probably when I started watching wrestling, just watching WCW with you guys. That's how I got into
Yeah, we
wrestling.
got into WWF at the right time too because that was the Attitude Era with The Rock and Stone Cold.
Yeah.
When it's
Because
hitting its stride.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we were watching WCW, but in my dad's bedroom he had WWF on, recording it on a VHS
That's pretty
tape.
cool.
So we watched that after Nitro. I
Yeah.
almost said Raw, and then UFC was actually early
Yeah.
because Dad would rent
Renting the videos.
the videos and DVDs from Blockbuster all the time, starting from
Jeez.
UFC 1.
collections, like pay-per-views, and then they'd also have like Ultimate Fight collections.
Yeah, or like the
Shit.
Ultimate
Yeah.
Knockouts or
Yeah.
whatever.
Ultimate Knockouts
yeah.
was a big part of getting us heavy into MMA.
Yeah, because if it
Because-
wasn't for you guys, I definitely wouldn't have been into MMA heavy. I watched the first season of the Ultimate Fighter, and that kind of caught my interest, but I never knew when the fights were on until your dad just finally let me into the house, because that was weird for a long time. He was just like, no, this weird kid's not coming into my house.
It wasn't just you; it was everybody.
Okay, good. Well, as long as I'm not excluded. I'm just sitting there watching, like, Aaron walk in. I'm like, what? He's way worse than I am. Like, what did I do? Like,
Why did Dad like Aaron?
I'm like, what happened? I'm sorry, Aaron, if you end up watching this. You're fine.
Aaron.
But still,
Yeah.
I'm just like, he was way worse than I was. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, what?
I don't know
He
what
gets
to
to
do.
watch the UFC and I get to sit out here? This is
Yeah.
bullshit. I guess I'll go hang out with other people, I guess. Dang.
Yeah. Well, but the thing about those videos was because we never really had cable back then, so that's like we didn't know, we weren't really watching like the live fights
Yeah.
until like
Until I'd
like
say like
2005 probably.
Oh,
2004,
so we were
2005.
probably, in
Yeah.
the same...
Because like I said, we didn't have cable.
we always had to
and we
watch
always
them.
just-
Yeah, like
And then-
a month late because they would come out a month later
Yeah.
at Blockbuster.
And then
or whatever.
it's actually when we moved into that house in the old neighborhood is when we got like cable and Spike TV, and then we were like, oh man,
Started
we can watch
watching
UFC all
everything.
the time now. And then my dad started paying for every pay-per-view, and then,
So great.
yeah.
Yeah, so great.
I remember
that was
it
a
would
good
be
time.
like it'd be like 11 p.m. when Dad would pop in the UFC tapes, and for some reason I'd be awake just watching them with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember freaking watching. Back then, the worst thing about those videos, though, now, is it kind of made us Tito Ortiz fans for a while, because he was like
Yeah.
on
There
all
was-
of them.
There was a lot of we liked Tito Ortiz,
Yeah.
we liked Matt Hughes,
Yeah, Matt
but then
Hughes.
we like
When GSP fought Matt Hughes, we were like, man, GSP's
Yeah,
way better than Matt
GSP
Hughes.
rules.
yeah, my dad was going for Matt Hughes in the
In
first fight.
yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
pissed that GSP lost. I was like, man.
That guy's
But then all of a sudden, my dad like switched to a GSP fan after he beat Matt Hughes.
The only
It was
thing that
Tito-
I have against GSP, there's only one thing I have against GSP, and that's his trash talk. I am not impressed with your performance. I'm like, ugh.
It's
ugh.
kinda good.
It's just
Are you-
weird.
Are you intoxicated?
Are you intoxicated?
That's
Like,
the
nah.
funniest But
He's too
I
nice.
feel
to
like-
talk crap.
Yeah, he is.
we stopped being Tito fans when we realized how cool Chuck was.
Well,
Chuck
and
started
how
beating
much
Tito's
of a
ass every
how
time.
much
We were
of a
like, man.
bitch Tito was,
Yeah.
ducking Chuck, ducking Randy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Mer-
the, like,
Because he
stuff
took the
about
Randy
boxing.
fight over the Chuck fight, right? And then he lost.
Yeah.
I feel like what really turned us on Tito was when he was gonna box Dana White, and then he pulled
Oh
out.
yeah.
Instead,
I
not
do
even
remember
Dana
that,
White, it
yeah.
was Tito.
I
We were
don't
like,
think
oh,
I
what?
don't think he's actually afraid of Dana though.
I don't think he's afraid of Dana, but why? I don't care how much they were paying me to beat my boss's ass.
Hey,
I'm going. No
he
matter
probably
what.
had another fractured skull.
Yeah. Or knee problem, back problem, whatever. Every fight. Before the fight,
His wife had a
100
photo shoot.
I'm 100%. He's like, I'm 100%. I'm gonna wreck him. And then after the fight, yeah, I had a back injury.
The
Yeah, I was at
fractured-
30% at max.
Yeah.
The fractured skull is the worst one.
Yeah.
That
Like,
makes,
who the fuck would let you fight
exactly
with a fractured skull?
That makes the doctors had to have been so pissed. Like, you did not have a broken skull.
Yeah, did you
idiot.
see what happened when MVP broke Cyborg's skull?
Yeah.
He was done.
And
Yeah,
you
he
could
was
see
done,
it.
yeah.
You could see it dented in his head.
Yeah, it was a perfect kneecap
Yeah, it
indent.
was.
It was great.
It was like you got hit
That
with
might
a
be one of the only times that I actually was like, yo, Michael Venom Page is dope. Like,
Yeah,
if he would
that's
just
awesome.
like
fight good people.
We were actually
like push himself,
Yeah.
he could be good.
Yeah.
But he takes easy fights. He tries to mess around too much. Doesn't work on his wrestling.
we were actually fans of MVP until he started fighting cans constantly. Never went up in competition. When he did go up in competition, he'd lose.
Yeah.
Same with Connor. We were actually fans of Connor, us three.
Yeah.
Until he became. He let the
Picky,
money get
yeah,
to
he
his
just
head.
picked, when he was able to nitpick his fights, and
Yeah.
you're just like, dude, you're not even fighting. You're like, though you're fighting good competition, you're not fighting the top tier competition. Like you're fighting B plus superstars, but there's A plus fights out there for you.
I think what soured me on Connor the fastest was more his like diehard fans calling him the GOAT, saying he's better than Jose Aldo before they even fought. I was
He
like, you
has
guys
even
are
never
crazy.
defended a belt.
And why
Yeah, and
has
that-
that second fight not happened between
Yeah.
him and Aldo?
That
That
should have
was
been an immediate rematch.
Yeah,
Everybody else, Ronda got
Aldo
an
was
immediate
the
rematch.
longest running.
Featherweight
Yeah,
champ ever.
ever,
To this
ever.
day.
And
He
he
was
was
undefeated for 8 years.
yeah, and he went through. I
The
mean,
best of the
yeah,
best.
the best of the best, and he got overzealous and overcharged and got
The
caught.
trash
He let
talk.
Connor get into his
The
head
trash
too
talk
much,
got to
yeah.
him. He went
If
as soon as
he-
that fight started. He went guns blazing.
If
got caught.
Jose threw that punch like 3 seconds earlier, though, Connor's the one.
Yeah,
stealing.
I.
That the punch that he was throwing was
It had some heat on
everything
it.
Was in it. Yeah.
It had heat
Also,
on
Connor-
it.
though-
even though he was getting knocked out and it barely skimmed, Connor's eye was still all red and swollen.
Yeah, he.
Like
he
man,
put,
if that would have cracked him on the chin, might have been a double knockout.
that would've been-
That would have been crazy.
Connor also
Amazing.
though, we've come to realize he was way too big to be fighting at featherweight.
Way too
Way
big.
too
I know.
big.
Have you seen like everyone's posting the images of featherweight Conor McGregor? He looked like a freaking starving child.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
literally, he's like his face. The face
Was
is
sunken in
crazy.
his
and then
eyes.
now he's like a fucking middleweight.
He's not-
This
yeah.
is a
I don't think he
huge.
can make lightweight again.
No, I don't
He's
think so.
too
No,
much
that is
muscle.
fucking.
He's gonna have to fight at welterweight.
100%.
Yeah, that,
Yeah, but-
I don't know what kind of shit he's on, but that's not natural.
I mean,
Well,
he's
see, that's
big.
the new thing, though. That's what TJ Dillashaw's doing. He retired, but it's because now he's out
To
of the
heal
testing
his-
pool.
yeah, and then so he can
he can take
do
all
his
these things to heal
yeah, to
faster.
heal fast.
Yeah, that's exactly what Connor's doing too.
And like I get it, like, hey man, you beat the system or whatever, but this is a sport where you actually inflict damage on people.
Yeah, you
so
can
I
hurt
just
someone. You can
it's
end
not
their
it's not
career.
fucking baseball where you're just cranking shit over the
hitting
fence.
baseball.
Like
Yeah.
no, this is like if you were to take that bat and hit somebody in the knee with it, like and
Yeah.
you're like, dude, you're causing physical
Yeah.
harm. So I
That's
don't
why,
like the I don't like that.
I mean, it's like legit steroids when they get popped for like testosterone pills because they're like 40 years old or whatever. I'm like,
I don't know. That affects you
whatever.
pretty bad. Vitor,
That was TRT. I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. I'm talking about like Viagra.
but
and stuff,
TRT is a
'cause
testosterone replacement therapy.
I get it, but like I don't know. I really feel like Anderson. I think he generally was going through some erectile dysfunction. I don't think he was.
Why
trying to
did
cheat.
everyone believe John Jones when he said that? When he was like what?
26
or
He
7
does
at
a
the
lot
time?
of coke. Coke will make that shit.
Okay, but
flaccid.
no
I'm
one
just
believes
saying.
Anderson when he was like 41, 42 at the time. That's the time when that.
You're
kid
telling me
said-
the greatest of all time can't get hard.
Yeah.
You're telling me that?
I
Come
mean,
on.
I would rather believe Anderson than John Jones in his prime.
And if Anderson was on legit steroids, he would have been tearing through everybody.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh man, I would love
Ridiculous.
to see
He would've been-
Prime Silva on all the
Hey,
steroids.
Anderson beat Chael Sonnen, who was on steroids.
That is true.
But he was getting beat for
He was.
Wait,
four and a half.
Sonnen's undefeated though.
Oh.
Have
Him and Art
you seen
Lobov.
that like meme going around? Like undefeated goat, 38-0, 38 knockouts. I'm like, shut the hell up.
You used to hate
I love Chael.
MMA, though.
Hate MMA?
Yeah. When you
I
were
just
younger,
didn't like it better than wrestling.
well, you used to get pissed off if I would turn it on, especially if there was wrestling on.
Wrestling, yeah, but
Do we have to watch this right now? I remember that.
yeah, but I remember always being interested in it. Just
It's like Rey
wrestling was
Mysterio's
always, like-
taking on Paul London for the Cruiserweight title. Do we have to watch this right now?
So that brings me to something else I want to talk about. Were you after WCW? Were you Raw or SmackDown? Because that was a big debate for a while.
Oh my god. You know
Like-
what? I will say, like,
The brand
Like-
split is a thing now.
Oh,
but
man.
back then, it was like legit.
It was a
like, people
legit
were like,
thing.
Oh, SmackDown's way better. No, Raw's
because
way
you
better.
never saw crossover either.
Rarely,
Like, they're
rarely.
very rarely.
They
Yeah.
made it seem like it was actually separate shows.
Yeah, and they
Now they don't.
man, this is weird though. I love Raw. I have to say SmackDown back in the day.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, they
Back-
had the
Oh, I know what you're
funnest
talking
wrestlers.
about.
I mean,
I know
they
what
had
you're
like
talking
Eddie Guerrero
The
and like
SmackDown
Chris
6.
Benoit and yeah, like
SmackDown
Rey
6 was,
Mysterio.
like-
It was great. It was fantastic. Though Raw had like the bigger superstars like
Like
your
Triple
Triple
H.
H and Goldberg.
Raw had
and,
the
like
bigger storylines, but
But
SmackDown,
SmackDown
had
the better
beat
wrestling.
by far.
Better
By far.
wrestling.
They had
Well-
Kurt, Brock, Taker, Edge, Christian, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero.
it was amazing. You
Yeah.
couldn't beat
Chris Benoit.
Yeah, you couldn't beat SmackDown back then. You
Yeah.
couldn't.
Well,
it was
that
great.
was like that's
You're
one
gonna
of the
get
things.
demonetized for bringing him up.
Whatever. They bring him up on Cultaholic all the time. But one of the things that pisses me off about Vince is just how spiteful he is because Raw's his show, that's his baby. So when SmackDown and Paul Heyman started beating him in the ratings, he like cut Paul Heyman and wouldn't let him write for him anymore. And
It started like nitpicking other
Yeah.
Also-
fucking
picking,
superstars.
picking Batista from them or John Cena from them when he started becoming a superstar.
Well, they took Chris Benoit as well. Like they took
Yeah.
him and then put him on Raw.
And that's
I mean,
why
it
he
wasn't
wouldn't-
for a while.
forever. Triple H, John Cena, even Undertaker. Not Undertaker, Kane, and all them. He was like, they're strictly Raw.
Yeah.
SmackDown, you have those guys, but these are the biggest superstars, so they stay on.
Yeah,
Raw.
and they would just try to
That's
push
what-
them down your throat.
That was another thing about us not having cable. Was I always had to like watch the Raw Rebound or whatever.
Yep.
Because like, but that I feel like that's also what helped me like love SmackDown more. Was just because like that's all I could watch really live.
Oh man, SmackDown was just just back then was just. I feel like you couldn't beat it wrestling wise. I mean, you had, on Raw you'd have like weird stuff like when Booker T and like Goldust were like tag team.
That was funny.
Like they were like these are fun and they're cool storylines, but then when you break down wrestling, you're like, man, can I just watch like Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio for the 90th time? It's way
Yeah.
better than this shit. Like,
Or when Kurt and Chris Benoit were the first tag champs, SmackDown tag champions, but they like hated each other.
see,
That was
that's
so funny.
oh man, and could you imagine if they let them stay like in a tag team? How nasty! Like you would be like, how like the Steiner brothers would just beat the crap out of people, like, and it would be like for real, and everybody hated wrestling them.
Just
it
like-
would be just like that.
Just like the APA.
Yeah, and you just beat the dog crap out of
Well,
you.
and then also the bridge from Attitude Era to the Ultimate Aggression Era, SmackDown was trash.
Oh, like,
what we're
in the
rewatching
middle?
right now, yeah. Before like the actual brand split or whatever,
SmackDown was
SmackDown was bad.
Yeah,
What was that one
it
that
takes
we
the
just
brand
watched?
split. It took the brand split for them to.
Yeah,
Like,
Ju- yeah.
SmackDown was so trash.
Yeah,
on
we just
purpose.
rewatched an episode.
It was like one of the
bad.
worst wrestling shows, let alone SmackDowns, that we've ever seen.
Oh, God, how did it end? We were like, the end match was The Rock versus Booker T, and a lights out match is what it was.
Oh, and it made no sense.
They get in the ring, they wrestle for like 30 seconds, then they leave the ring, and Booker T bookends him through the table after Shane.
And it
like,
was
screws
over.
him.
No pin,
No pin, nothing. He just they get in the ring, him and Shane, Booker and Shane, and just start celebrating. And then the little graphic comes up for the end. We were like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah, so it started. The Rock comes out and he's like, "Hey, I challenge you to a lights out match." He doesn't say if it's tonight, if it's the pay per view. He says no interference from WCW because it's the invasion angle,
Oh, okay.
or WWF. No rules, no nothing. And we're like, is that for the lights out match? Like, what is
Or
this?
is that SummerSlam? 'Cause
Yeah.
they're facing at SummerSlam.
And then Christian was like, I think it's if whoever wins, they can have like WCW interview or whatever. Nothing made sense. It just ended.
They never described the rules of or whatever a lights out match is. The only thing that was different was right before the match started, the lights went out for like 30 seconds, and they were just talking in the dark, like the commentary team. And then it comes
So
back
dumb.
on. They do their entrances. That 30-second little brawl in the ring happens. Shane hits Brock with a chair, and then Booker T puts him through the table. That's it. No pin.
Nothing.
We were like, what is going on?
And
So
then,
yeah, SmackDown didn't take a hit for
It didn't
while.
even go into like the pay per view. Nothing came of it. There was no
They never talked
stipulations.
about it.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm sure they
And
don't
then
want to
the
talk about
Undertaker
it.
thing. He that thing with Diamond Dallas Page, and Kane's like, "You're lucky I waited for you. He has some sick stuff going on there." Kane saying this.
Yeah.
He's like, he has a shrine set up to Sarah, or whatever. Undertaker goes running in the dressing room. He's trying to fuck up the TVs, and
Yeah, there's
he
like
can't do
TVs
it.
hanging, and he's trying to punch them, and they won't fall.
And he's like trying to rip them out of the fucking wall, and they won't come out. It was just an awful SmackDown.
Nah, the dead man's not so good with brackets.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that opened up my eyes of how bad Undertaker was in that era. Lazy, slow, terrible on the mic. That whole... What was it, Vince McMahon? I'm gonna kick your stank ass. It's
I'm
the
gonna
worst
kick
fucking
your
thing.
stank ass. Yeah, I remember
Stink
that.
ass all the time.
It
His
was
song
terrible.
said, his literal theme song said, "Always kicking assholes' ass." What kind
That
of line is
Undertaker was terrible. I don't care what anyone says. He was
It's
You
so bad.
done it now.
The one when the brand split happens and he's still kind of biker taker, but he's ruthless.
That one was
That's
okay.
the one I like.
Is
Yeah.
that like with the match with him and like
Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy.
Yeah,
and him and Brock,
yeah.
When Brock like broke his
his arm? Yeah, that's one of
Do
the.
you remember that he injects steroids on TV?
Who?
Undertaker. When he
I
has the
don't
broken
remember
arm,
that.
he's like, just do it, I got the match. So they stick a needle in his arm.
Holy
I think they said it was morphine or
Oh,
something.
well,
but
or
still,
a cortisone shot, possibly.
Maybe.
Like,
They didn't
I don't-
specify, though.
Well,
so-
why did you say steroids? Like,
Because,
like-
I mean,
that's the first thing.
it's a little-
Needles, steroids.
it's a little tasteless after all the steroid activations.
maybe the dead man does H. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
I just remember watching it as a kid, and I was like, shoot up drugs. What the fuck?
You're
Gonna
like
cry.
you're,
Undertaker. Shoot up.
it's like oh man, what is that really crappy movie? Oh, never mind. Varsity Blues is like, don't let him stick that in your leg. you're like the quarterback. That's funny. You're like, no, Taker, don't.
I
Don't
don't know why that just sticks out in my head so much. But then I remember Brock comes back there and like picks up Undertaker and like throws him into this chain link fence.
That Undertaker
feud,
was
that
good, though.
Undertaker Brock feud was like,
great.
one of my favorites.
But the Undertaker from like 2000 to like 2001 was awful. Terrible,
Yeah.
terrible storylines. And Kane, too. Kane, he's supposed to be this
Yeah.
inhuman, unstoppable monster, but he's like,
He's like, I got you, brother. And
yeah,
they're, like, fucking
talking and
fist
shit.
bumping
Like,
him.
what? The whole, what he's doing in there is sick. I'm like, what?
You're
Kane.
Yeah, you burned your family's house down.
Yeah.
Killed your parents. What are you
Right?
talking about?
So, yeah, but this is some real sick shit right here. He's got a shrine. He's hiding the remote. Piece
Yeah.
of shit. That's what he is.
He thinks your wife's hot. Isn't that sick?
Son of a bitch. It's like, yeah, because nobody thinks your wife's hot. Like,
Sarah was ugly. She was ugly as fuck.
yeah, well, you know, it is the dead man. Like, ugh.
She looked dead.
Hey, he upgraded with Michelle McCool.
He did. I was like, because I always used to, I was like, Michelle look cool, but then I seen Sarah's face and I was like, oh, I see.
I'm gonna
Like,
get that tattooed on my neck. But so while we're on this, I guess we could do top 5 favorite wrestlers.
And that's always the hardest, isn't
It
it?
is hard. I fight with it all the time, but I think I got.
Well, is it 5 of our personal favorites, or is it 5...
personal favorites.
personal
I-
favorites?
Okay.
Not the 5 you think of like the best,
The
ever.
greatest
Just,
ever.
like, your personal.
Ah,
5.
yes, the ones that I enjoyed watching when I was a child. Well, one for me, he will always be number 1. Is always Ric Flair. You guys have known me a long time. He will always be number 1. I have always loved Ric Flair. I don't even care if it's Ric Flair in TNA. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a
What about
fuck.
Ric Flair's last match?
I don't care.
Did you see he wants to redo it?
He wants to redo
His last match.
Wow.
It's terrible.
Like, that's Rick, if you're listening to this, don't do it.
Just
please.
stop.
Just don't
Yeah,
do
this
it.
is hard.
Unless you're wrestling Charlotte, I would watch that. But Yeah, so like number one, of course, is always Ric Flair. Number two, Macho Man. He was, I mean, when it comes to me being a kid and just all of his like his costumes, his wardrobe, his dope
I
sunglasses.
was gonna say, I feel like you definitely have the more classic list out of those three.
Oh, it gets better. Oh, it gets.
A
Who
little
asked
more-
you? All right.
A little more.
Hey, it gets up there. Number three, Seth Rollins. Suck my dick.
I
I
like Seth
fucking
Rollins.
love Seth Rollins. No, I'm just saying. Now
What
we're
was
getting
his-
into some new
What was
school.
his best run though?
Oh man. God.
I-
So
my-
though I like the. Oh, go ahead.
My personal best run for him was the Authority one when he won Money in the Bank, had the blonde streak, and was like,
Oh yeah, and
the
he was
slimy
like the
bad
slime.
guy.
Yeah.
He was so good.
So I either like that. But man, when he's the Kingslayer too, like when he
Yeah,
did, that's
he's
really
had a
good.
lot of good
But
ones.
what's the run where Monday Night Rollins where he carried Raw for
Yeah.
a fucking like year, man. He was
mean,
amazing.
Even right now, he's making a case for his best run.
Yeah, I mean, I love what he's doing right now. His whole persona. That guy, along with Chris Jericho, which brings me to my fourth, Chris Jericho, is they're able to constantly change, and then when they change, they're arguably better.
Yeah.
It's crazy
It is
how much
crazy.
that these guys change.
Especially, everybody was bitching about Chris Jericho and AEW, saying, "Oh, you know, he's holding the product back." But then he reinvented himself again with the
And is
Jericho
killing it.
Appreciation Society, and everyone's like, "Yeah, Chris Jericho."
Yeah,
he's
because
good."
and then 5. This is only because my love of silly is the Hurricane. I love the
Really?
Hurricane.
Wow,
I
the
love
Hurricane.
the Hurricane. As a kid, everything that, because back then being a nerd and liking superheroes and stuff was bad, even though now in this culture it's pretty dope. But then back then it's like, you like Spider-Man? What are you, gay? And you're like, what? What are you? What else?
Dude, yeah, everybody said you were gay for everything.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but like the Hurricane, all like, even though he would lose literally 90% of his matches, but the times he pulled off the choke slam were amazing. Where you're
Yeah.
like,
The
what? Oh my god! He was just
Kane
fun.
and Undertaker. What was
Yeah,
it, the
when-
Royal Rumble or whatever? He's like,
No, it was
I'm
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
sure it's
it
Royal
was
Rumble, and he's like,
yeah.
and then they
Well,
look
'cause
at
they-
each other and then double choke slam.
he also did that to Stone Cold and Triple H. And
Oh,
they looked at each other
yeah!
and then kicked him in the gut and started beating the crap out of him.
I love the Hurricane. Like he made great promos. I mean, he made Rosie awesome. Like he was just like, they never. And actually, if you look at it, he's a good wrestler. Like he's actually
he's
a
pretty
really
good.
good wrestler.
When he
the
after
Shining Wizard. Like that's
after
a
the
great
Hurricane
finisher.
gimmick, when he like went to the cruiserweight title,
Yeah.
he's putting on some good matches.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
I
So
feel like
I
he kind of
always.
carried that division for a while.
Yeah, so I always give him the respect that he never gets. And he was, when I'm talking about favorites, he is one of my favorites. I mean, I had an action figure of him, and then even as the action figure, I'd go to choke slam him, and then I would choke slam him. Like, it's just dumb. Like,
Right.
but he was just always fun for me to watch.
Right.
So that's my 5.
I guess I'll go next. I don't know if this is particularly in an order, but there's like the 5 that like right now I'd probably say is my favorite, but it changes all the time. But number 1, got to give it to Stone Cold. It's too cool.
Yeah, I mean,
think-
he's awesome.
I think just like
What?
Yeah,
I get he didn't win all the belts all the time, but when it comes to just like megastar, I don't think anybody was bigger. No one had bigger crowd pops. Good guy.
You hear
bad
that,
guy,
Hulk Hogan? You hear that? It's
Good
the
guy,
rattlesnake.
Good guy or bad guy, the crowd wanted to see him no matter what. He could cut killer promos. He was great in the ring. Had some of the best moveset. He was a believable badass. He was hilarious when he wanted to be.
You're right.
We were just watching
Like-
him cut a promo on like Taz and stuff about like what they're not doing right, and man, that was
he's
hilarious.
so funny. Like he'll go what out of nowhere. He'll be like, "You're supposed to kick his ass." What?
And you can tell they're like,
And I love the stuff that he used to do with like Lance Storm, where he's calling him boring, and he just comes
Yeah.
out and, I guess I'm just gonna come out here and watch your match so I can fall asleep.
yeah,
Stone Cold can't fall asleep right now.
yeah. That's like I feel like he.
Or when
checked
he's the
all
sheriff.
boxes.
Yeah, he's just the sheriff. He's
Even,
the,
even
he's
when
the
he
man.
wasn't wrestling and was just like wrecking havoc, it was fun to
It's
watch.
great.
Ratings, and then even now, like how long was it? It was until he came back, and then him and Kevin Owens put on arguably the best match of WrestleMania this year.
Oh yeah.
I would say
Fair.
match quality wise was definitely Cody and Seth, but this like funnest match was
And
probably
he
that.
did
Yeah.
so well for not being in the
when
ring
he
for
took
how
the-
long?
For 15
I
years.
was like nervous, but when he took that bump on the concrete,
Yeah,
the
I
suplex,
thought he was like, he's good. He's okay.
I was like, all right, this is gonna be pretty good.
He did great.
Yeah, so I was super happy with that. Just gotta give it to Stone Cold. Kurt Angle's also on my list.
Oh, I love Kurt Angle.
He's
Kurt
just
Angle.
I think he's the best pure wrestler ever. I gotta give him his
Best
tech-
pure wrestler ever.
He could do anything. He can do high flying moves. He's doing moonsaults effortlessly. Best moonsault ever. He rarely landed
Hey,
it.
he was high off
Best
of
move
Percocets, all right? You know how flat I could land high off Percocets?
Kurt Angle. But just like anybody, most underrated WrestleMania match ever, Kurt and Shawn. Easy.
Oh, yeah. I
That's
could
one-
give you that. I could give you
match
that.
is
Even
so
though
good.
Chris Benoit's a...
And yeah, how could I not say Sean, too? Because Sean's in there. I mean,
I like Shawn, but he's never been in my top.
I think as he got older, his
second run was better than
his
first.
the way he command emotion got
better.
way better,
Yeah.
where he was able to
That's
actually
why like
take
it's
his.
so crazy to me. They only gave him the belt one time after, like during his second run.
Oh yeah, because that's
when
like
he
when
won
he.
the chamber.
Yep.
Never won it again after
Did
that.
he really not? That's
Never.
crazy.
I think the only thing he ever won after that was the tag
yeah,
belts.
when they came back with DX or whatever.
Yeah. And then him and Cena won it.
Oh,
too.
that's right. I forgot about that.
But Kurt Angle's just like, he's hilarious. He cut good promos, and then when he switched it up to like serious, intense Kurt, he killed it. Then World's Greatest Tag Team Kurt, when he brought in Charlie
Oh
Haas
man,
and Shawn,
that's
was great.
yeah, that was
When
tremendous.
he was the SmackDown GM for a while was great. Screwing Eddie Guerrero all the time and stuff. His matches with Brock, the Iron Man match on SmackDown, best SmackDown match ever. Best live TV match, like free TV
His
match
matches
maybe
with
ever.
Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Oh, any match,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Yeah,
with Chris
they went
Benoit
at
was
it like
nasty.
10 times, and it's just like every time you're like, oh man, Kurt and Chris. Gotta watch
Even if
that.
it wasn't like a hardcore match or like no holds barred or anything,
Yeah,
it was
just-
brutal.
Yeah.
They would
Yeah.
slam each other around.
And they're not holding back anything from the
No.
chops or
And
anything.
then there's
Oh,
submission matches.
Oh man, those were pretty.
And the thing that I loved about that Iron Man match the most is because like I hate when Iron Man matches are like 1 to 2, 2 to 3. That one was 6 to 7.
is that the one where he just takes a couple chair shots? Like
So
he just hits him a couple times with the chair.
So when the match starts, Brock grabs a chair, just beats the shit out of Kurt, gets like 3 quick pins. I'm like, that's so hilarious. But then he still gets 4 more wins after that, and then Kurt gets it up to 6, and then it's 6 to 7, and then he has him in the ankle lock, and time's running out.
Oh,
You're like,
that's
is it
right,
gonna
yeah.
time? And then time runs out, and he barely escapes. Man, that's just
Unconscious,
So
he went unconscious or whatever.
good. No, Brock like barely hold on,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
as soon as the thing,
yeah, went to like 0.
I
he was
think
like,
of Chris
let go.
Benoit. Remember, he had him in the ankle lock in their Iron Man match, and
yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Benoit like pass out instead of tapping or whatever.
Yeah.
And Kurt Angle was like, "That should count."
But like Kurt like let go of Brock's ankles, like screaming like "damn it!" and Brock like squirts off, like barely winning. Yeah, that's
and
peak
then
right there.
that match with Kurt and Eddie, where
Oh,
he has
great.
him in the
Yeah,
he has
he
him in the-
loosened his
yeah,
boot,
and then
yeah.
rolls out of it and then does a nice little like
Roll.
a little roll up.
Yeah.
Ah, it's great.
Well, is that the match where he has the boot in his hand and Eddie Guerrero falls on the ground? He's all telling the ref, "He hit me with the boot."
Yeah, then
Yeah,
he rolls
just-
him up.
yeah, then he rolls
Then
him up,
rolls
yeah.
him
Oh,
after
yeah.
that,
Yeah, yep.
When
Because then he hooks the rope with his feet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man,
Ah.
Eddie was so good. It's hard not to put Eddie on this list.
It really is, and
But I had to put AJ on there, AJ Styles, just because like 2004 5 TNA when we started watching it, AJ Styles was just
he's the
the
man.
man.
He's the
the
fucking
stuff he
man.
was able to pull off. And then once again, he has one of my favorite matches of all time, which Samoa Joe is also hard not to put on this list. But AJ, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels triple threat for the X Division title. Oh my god, best match, like moveset
Oh, how could I not
wise.
have put Kenny Omega? Ah, I hate myself. Go ahead.
Moveset wise, moveset wise, that's the greatest match I've ever seen. The stuff they're able to pull off, it's just insane. The oh god, what's it called? When he does like the reverse corkscrew over the ropes.
Oh,
AJ
yeah.
Styles. I don't know how he pulls that off. How does someone's body move like that? The
Man.
spinal tap. That's what.
Yeah,
It's called. I don't know how
AJ
he
Styles
does
is somebody that I wish I could have watched earlier because all of his stuff was
yeah,
amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Like we were watching like peak AJ in TNA, and then 20 years later he's still killing it. He just hurt his ankle. This is gonna be the most time he's ever missed.
Dang.
Yeah, it's crazy. When he debuted in WWE, I was so happy, and I was like scared though. But then when they actually like pulled
Pushed
the
him?
trigger, made him champ, he's like a 3-time champ. I'm like, man, that's cool.
If anybody, well, I can't say if anybody deserves it because Samoa Joe should have got his.
Oh, definitely.
Like, which is
when
bullshit.
he was facing AJ in that feud. I don't. Same with Nakamura.
Because they didn't want to do a TNA to TNA fucking swap. Like, hey, look at these guys who carried that company for a decade. Well, now they're over here
carrying the company.
I still can't believe they didn't have Nakamura beat AJ. For
in that.
And then when they had him turn heel, I was like, oh, he's definitely winning the next one.
Nothing. They gave him absolutely nothing.
And people wonder why.
And now they're letting him just go wrestle like in Japan and stuff. So it's kind of like. Do you value him as a wrestler?
I think he's just chilling. He just likes to surf and stuff, so I feel like...
That's why, I was going to say, that's why people are wondering why Shinsuke isn't really trying that hard anymore. Because they screw him over so much.
Well, I think, he's at the end of his career. He's been wrestling 20
years,
but
so he could have had a good push at WWE.
He should have.
Yeah, he had it. I don't know why they...
I mean, because his TNA... I mean, not his TNA. His NXT push...
was great.
Was amazing.
Some of the best matches I've ever seen.
Well, so okay. Ridiculous.
Next on my list, Kevin Owens.
Of course.
I knew you
were New Age Stone Cold. I
don't think anybody has a better promo than Kevin Owens right now.
Him and Seth.
Yeah.
Him and Seth, I feel like are at the top of the fucking...
You can tell that they're just shooting from the hip.
Yep.
They're not writing anything. No, it's not scripted.
Also, you have to give Sami Zayn his too. I mean, if we're talking promos, then
we have good. But Kevin Owens and his moveset is so good. And for a guy that big to be able to move like he does, doing swantons and freaking...
But I love his like pop-up powerbomb. I love how he brought back the stunner because we needed... Wrestling needs a stunner.
I like how he still can finish matches with both.
Yep.
Because I hate when someone gets a new finisher and the finisher just doesn't work anymore.
Like when Baron Corbin. I hate. Okay, so here's the thing that I hate. It's not really. I'm just using Baron Corbin as an example. When he does the deep six and he always pins. Who the fuck has ever been pinned with the deep six?
So speaking of that, on Raw this past week when he was facing Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
He hit him in the deep six and went for the pin, and then I can't remember the new British commentator.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, nobody kicks out of the
nobody ever kicks out of the deep six." I was like,
"Everybody kicks out of the deep six." I was literally saying the same thing because I was watching it, trying to brush up on all my stuff just to make sure I was caught up.
Speaking of Baron Corbin, he's very underrated.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't get the respect he deserves because every shit gimmick that he
makes it well.
He makes
this
it good.
One with JBL, I don't know if he can do anything with. It's just
we'll see.
And he's good on the mic, so I don't know why you take
JBL
mic away to JBL.
And because JBL's not that great on the mic either.
His best
promos.
He said 20 years ago.
His best promos were him making fun of Mexicans. Does anybody remember that? He's a fucking border patrol. Get out of here!
Yeah,
you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Feuding with Eddie. Yeah.
You're like, this is fucking ridiculous.
But Baron Corbin's good on the mic. His moveset is great. I love the fucking End of Days. The fact that they had Drew kick out of it. God, that pisses me off so much.
Is nothing sacred?
That was the one thing he had. Like, he was like... He literally said, like, a month before that, I'd rather never be WWE champion than have someone kicked out at End of Days. And Vince is like, oh, kicking out at End of Days.
Yeah, he heard that. He's like,
if I was Drew, I would have switched it on the fly. Like, I'm not going to kick out of it. Just don't hit me with it.
Or what I would have done is
I
would have not even hit him with it. I would just would have hit him with a chair. Like, you still won. Here you go.
Yeah. But, yeah, so Kevin Owens, he's hilarious. He cuts great promos. Good guy, bad guy. He can do whatever.
Yeah.
I really hope. I know he's not going to beat Roman. We'll get into that later. I don't want to talk about future plans later. And last, Goldberg.
Wow.
Like you as a kid, Goldberg was the man. Goldberg, every week we were like, oh, what's Goldberg going to do this time?
He ruined Bret Hart's career. Ended it.
I got something to say about that. Because what a lot of people don't like to talk about is Bret Hart refused to get treatment, and the next day he wrestled on Nitro and got another head injury. So
probably because hold on. Well, I have something to say about that. Nobody thinks about his mental state during that. He didn't even know he was fucked up, and probably just went out there not remembering he got kicked.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, I get Goldberg.
No, and I don't really hate Goldberg. It's been the same since I was a kid. I just don't like him as a wrestler. I like his character, but I don't like him in ring because all he does is spear, jackhammer, a couple of weird kicks. I just don't care.
That's fair. But as a kid, just watching him wreck everybody, you were like, yeah, let's go. And then his WWE run, first one was pretty sour. Like, they should have made him champ way before they did, but that, Triple H had him do all stupid stuff. And then when he finally got the belt, it was kind of weak.
Yeah.
But when he came back again, I got to, luckily, bought the tickets before they even announced it, but luckily I was at the Raw because it was in Denver when Goldberg returned. And it's like one of the best wrestling events I've ever been to. And then that match against Brock was great when he beat him at Survivor Series in like 2 minutes. Like nobody was expecting that, so that was like awesome, and that like kind of rekindled my.
But then Goldberg also soured me again when he beat the Fiend.
Okay.
That really bothered me because he was
me.
the best thing in wrestling at that point, at least for me. He was the best thing in wrestling.
It bothered me when he beat Kevin Owens for the belt, but the way they did it, I was like, okay, whatever. Him and Chris and Kevin are gonna have their match. And the Goldberg-Brock match at that Mania was actually good.
Yeah, it was way better than the first one.
The 5-minute just crash, like...
Yeah, we're all just going to do we're all just going to do finishers and do crazy stuff.
Put each other through the barricade, whatever. That was cool. That was fine. And that should have ended it there. Goldberg had his last run.
Never come back.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then they had him come back at the Rumble. And then he had another title opportunity. And then, you said...
The worst thing ever with The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah, that match with The Undertaker.
Oh, that was really bad. That was the, Crown Jewel or whatever? That was bad.
And everyone blames Goldberg, but I'm like, Undertaker was awful then, too. He was old and could barely move. Yeah. It was both of them.
And then, him beating The Fiend. But...
It was just the dumbest way. The Fiend should not have been ended by Goldberg. You should not... Goldberg has been, I can't say I can say handed a lot of shit. The only time he wasn't handed stuff is the first run in WWE. That's the only time he wasn't handed anything. WCW, he was handed anything that he fucking wanted to be handed.
I think he had to work his way up, though.
Not really, because most of his matches are like 2-3 minutes. And the match that made him, like, kind of exposed him was William Regal. And then William Regal got cast aside because he was doing what he was instructed to do, was to put on a match with him.
But I'm saying, like, as a fan, as a kid watching that, Goldberg was the man.
I could never.
It was like,
you didn't grow up with WCW though, not like we did.
No, you're right. My brother was a big WCW fan, and his whole thing was like Kevin Nash, Outsiders. But
those are the guys that
ruined
could
shit.
Do anything in WCW.
Yes, but he was like I said, Goldberg was one of the like original people that they brought in, like that WCW is responsible for. But he wrestled, 2-3 minutes at a time, if even got to 3 minutes. And you're like, yeah, he's crushing all these people. Even some like good wrestlers, he would just crush in a couple minutes. And you're like, dude, like I just want to watch a good wrestling match. I don't want to see somebody get completely destroyed. Yeah, every now and again, a squash match is sure. You kind of need it, but I don't want to watch 80 squash matches.
But I think it was refreshing at the time because the NWO was just so tired at that time, and we finally got someone that could end the NWO. It didn't, but at the time, it was like, finally, someone's going to take the belt away from him.
I feel like it was okay to have Goldberg squash matches because you had all the cruiserweight guys killing it the first hour, so you got like really good wrestling in, and then you'd also have, like you said, like a Sting Diamond Dallas Page match, which was really good.
And don't get me wrong, because I watched my fair share of WCW, because like I said, my brother's a huge WCW fan. I've watched my fair share of WCW, and their best thing, at least in my opinion, was the cruiserweights, because I loved watching that wrestling. Like even now, if I watch wrestling that's like not WWE, I would rather watch European wrestling or Japanese wrestling because it's a little harder hitting, and I like that style of wrestling. I just don't like squash matches.
I would say though,
hard thing for me.
You want to watch a good Goldberg match from back then. Halloween Havoc 98, I believe, against Diamond Dallas Page. That's a good match.
Pretty good?
That's a good
match.
All right,
okay, so I'll check it out.
Diamond Dallas Page did kind of carry him, but Goldberg did what he needed to do.
That's... Okay, what WWE did to DDP? That was...
God, yeah, that's horrible. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, you're 5. Wow, we just discarded you. Like, fuck him.
So mine changed. For the longest time, my number 1 was The Rock. Yeah, but rewatching wrestling, my number 1 is now Stone Cold. To be able to change characters that quickly from a badass, whooping everybody's ass all the time, to being hilarious, is a very rare talent.
Yeah, you don't get, not everybody can be funny. And you know who we haven't mentioned yet, who can do everything? Randy Orton.
I do like Randy Orton.
Like, I'm just shocked that it took this long to even bring up Randy, because Randy does everything
He's definitely
very well. Like, he does everything completely well. I mean, from his the coal that's gonna be squeezed into the next diamond, all the way to his like his legend killer and all that, everything that he goes through, He always seems to make it.
Him and Edge making fun
Rated
of DX.
RKO.
That
Yeah,
was funny.
it's always great. So I was just surprised Randy actually wasn't in yours.
He's
That
top
was
10.
crazy.
He's
Yeah.
probably top 10.
Yeah.
John Cena was close too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't believe you didn't put John
He's
Cena on
close.
there.
He was probably 6, but
I know. As soon as I was done, I was like, how did I not say Kenny Omega? I'm stupid because Kenny Omega's my dude.
But like Stone Cold, like his funny stuff was like really funny,
What?
and he rarely had a bad promo. Rarely.
Really?
I mean, we
Yeah.
do make fun of him a little bit for overusing carcass.
yeah.
I'll drag your carcass and
Get
kick
your little
your
carcass out here.
yeah.
But yeah, most of the time his promos were like,
They're exactly what they needed to be.
Yeah, fans at the time, I'm pretty sure we're the only ones for the longest time that appreciated the comedy side. Me, you, and Christian,
Because wrestling has to be a little bit silly.
Yeah,
You can't take yourself. You can't take yourself too seriously.
They
'cause
would have
this
got
is
tired of Stone Cold if he would have just nonstop been
the
the
badass.
badass.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, "Oh, where's the badass Stone Cold?" That's arguably some of his best stuff was the funny stuff.
and
with
then that
Kurt
makes it
and-
better for when he goes back to the badass.
I will say though, the storyline with the invasion was stupid. That was so
Yeah.
dumb.
I give them kind of credit. They could have done it better, but with what they were handed, I guess they.
Well, I mean,
kinda
they
threw
had the
something
biggest
together.
baby face in the history of the industry.
Who?
Stone Cold.
Oh, yeah.
Betray 2 times big betrayals. He sided with Vince McMahon, which was like, what the hell? And then he betrays WWF.
Yeah, that was.
And his reasoning was, oh, because you gave Kurt Angle a hug. And he's like, and you want The Rock come. I seen the text. But then that same night, Stone Cold makes that speech. Shane and Stephanie are out there begging The Rock, doing all this dumb shit for The Rock
Yeah.
to come onto their side. I'm like, I thought that's why you betrayed him. That makes no. But yeah, Stone Cold's number 1. Number 2 is The Rock, because he also, when he's a bad guy, he plays a
Especially
good bad
like,
guy.
remember Hollywood Rock?
Hollywood Rock
What
was
a
good.
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Yeah.
What a
He
fucking
was.
asshole.
Yeah.
His nation stuff was actually pretty good.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was like.
Yeah.
But
When
Yeah.
he really
Anything.
started turning into The Rock was during that nation.
I feel like The Rock and Stone Cold have to be number 1 and 2 for me, because how rare is it to have the 2 biggest stars
Simultaneously.
at the same time?
Yeah.
That's crazy. No one gets bigger pops than Stone Cold or The Rock.
There's no bigger feud than Rock and Austin.
No. No.
3 main
Not
event-
even
3 WrestleMania
you.
matches,
Not even
2
like.
main
Not
events.
even like. Not even like. Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. It can't even. It can't even compare.
No.
Like not to Rock and Austin, because they're the only people to. Like, is it main event WrestleMania 3 times?
Just face each
Oh,
other.
face
at
each other at
3
Mania
times,
3
yeah.
times.
What?
Because the Stone Cold's first retirement match.
What
or
WrestleMania
wasn't the
is
main
it?
Event, but it was a main event, but not the.
Not the main
What
event.
WrestleMania is it when they had that crazy build-up, that like really intense interview with JR?
That was 17. Next.
That was probably the
Best
best build-up
Mania
to a
ever.
WrestleMania. That's the best.
Is that their
WrestleMania
second
ever.
one or is that their last one?
That's
This
their
is the second.
second match.
Yeah, that's
WrestleMania X7. This is the one where he turns and goes
Stone Cold
sides with
turns,
Vince.
yeah.
Ah,
And
yeah.
then, like the
But I also
the way,
loved
the
their
song. The way was the build-up song, and
yeah. I liked their build up to the third match because I always and I'll never
That one
forget
was
it. It
good,
was
too.
the Rock has done it all. He has done it all
Except
except that whoop that bald ass or is it WrestleMania?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that was
That
like
was
one of the
good.
greatest things. You're like, oh shit, is he gonna do it this time? Oh shit!
See,
Like,
that's an underrated WrestleMania too, though. WrestleMania 19.
I think that one's
Yeah,
great.
because that had Rock, Stone Cold, Shawn, Chris Jericho.
Oh, that people forget about
Yeah.
that one. That
But it
one's
also
amazing.
had the thing that sours it is Triple H, Booker T.
Oh, because Triple H hits the pedigree that lasts for 20 years.
Yeah, and then
Hits
he's
the pedigree
the
and
build-up's
then
a little racist. yeah,
yeah, a little.
yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty.
People like you shouldn't be champion. You're like,
When,
okay.
Can I say something? When I was younger, I always thought it meant
WCW,
WCW people.
but-
That's what I thought.
Maybe it does, and we're just racist now.
No, because now that I see the
Yeah,
other
because no, when you
stuff-
when you
yeah.
watch it back, it's like that's
Well,
problematic.
because there's a promo when Booker T's like in the locker room and Triple H is like showering. He says like, "Why don't you go fetch me a towel, boy?" I'm like,
Jesus.
I always thought it was WCW guys.
Man, okay, Blue
but-
Blood. God, fucking clan rallies
but I mean,
down
as
the
a
block.
kid, you know, you're just like,
You're like,
is
he's
it
just
'cause he's
mean.
from
Like,
WCW?
yeah,
Is he because he's from WCW?
yeah, he's
But-
just mean to Booker T.
Yeah, but that's why The
meaner.
Rock dropped down to number 2 for me. It's because rewatching that feud with Booker T, there's some cringy ass dumb shit in there. Like everyone says that.
Thomas Jefferson sucker.
Yeah, everyone's like, that's so funny. No, it is not. That's so dumb. He's like, what's 2 + 2? Thomas Jefferson, sucker. That was just what?
You couldn't come up with anything better.
And I've noticed The Rock has a lot of stuff that like that back in the day.
Stuff,
I was like, ugh, that was. But I mean, The Rock was great. That's also.
It was more than often he was better than he was cringy. But
It also, when The Rock is a good guy, I don't like how he gets his ass whooped for like 10, 15
Everyone
minutes.
talks about that.
He can sell
Cena.
though. I will say
he's
he
a
can
great
sell.
Oh
like
yeah,
a
he's one of the
motherfucker.
best sellers.
But it's like 90% of the match he's getting wrecked, and then he
Yeah, like
pulls
Bret
out the
Hart.
Rock.
Yeah, like Bret Hart, where you're like, dude, you just got your ass whooped for 15 minutes, and then you just throw in a sharpshooter and win. What the?
Well, and I don't think anyone's worse than The Rock at that though. When he's a babyface, he gets wrecked. It's so bad. And then like no one talks about some of his best stuff, like when he like kept getting screwed over for like 2 months straight. He lost it in because the big boss man screwed him over. Bull Buchanan. He lost it and was beating the shit out of him. Went out of the ring. Had a chain. Was hitting him with the chain, and then wrapped around his head for like 10 minutes. Just ding, ding.
He would go to each corner and just
beat the shit
and
out of them.
that's how the SmackDown ended.
Yeah.
The little thing came up and they're trying to pull The Rock off, and he's just. Then they never talked
That was one of the
about it
coolest
ever
moments
again.
for a babyface ever, and I was like, why can't that happen more often? Why can't the babyface be the badass?
Yeah.
But I mean, Stone Cold, but
yeah.
But and then I was gonna say, The Rock and Stone Cold are two examples that Vince isn't as smart as people think. He gave them creative freedom. They completely reinvented their characters and became the two biggest stars ever.
Yeah, sometimes you have to just let the people be the
Just-
people.
yeah.
Vince got carried, in my opinion, because the Attitude Era giving wrestlers creative freedom like Triple H, Stone Cold, Rock. But anyway, that's a different topic.
A
But-
story for a different day.
yeah. And then, so my number 3 is Kurt. No one has taken to professional wrestling faster or better than Kurt Angle.
Especially coming from the world of like freestyle
Real
wrestling.
wrestling.
His
or
charisma
Olympic
was
wrestling.
almost immediate. His corny cheeseball,
Could you imagine him going to ECW like he was going to?
right.
And then he saw
would not-
fucking Sandman get fucking crucified, and he's like, I'm not coming to this fucking place.
Well, like his 3 eyes and stuff, people booed it, but that's what they wanted.
yeah.
He was just so cheesy, but it was funny.
Yeah, where he come up and like everybody has like the hat, and he has like the little kid like cowboy hat.
pink
Hey,
hat.
let's
Yeah.
go, let's go.
Kurt Angle.
Yippee-ki-yay.
And then he became a badass and was wrecking everybody. And in the ring, he's just one of the best. Kurt Angle.
I will say Kurt Angle, when he always popped in the mouthpiece, I was just like, oh
Yeah.
man, somebody's
Yeah.
gonna get hurt.
When he takes off his straps, you're like, ooh.
Or
he's
when he
gonna
puts
rip
them
that
back
ankle
on
off.
and then takes them back off.
yeah.
Kurt Angle, no one. That has to be like a feat. To be able to take to professional wrestling that quickly and be one of the best ever. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
And then my 4th would be Macho Man.
Oh yeah, dig it.
His Attitude Era style promos before the Attitude Era, way before the Attitude Era, is just he was so good on the mic and
ever
stuff.
count how many creams he pulled out of that fanny pack? It was a lot.
I love Macho
He was the
Man.
cream of the crop.
Yeah,
Not just
Cream
one
of the
crop,
crop.
the
Even
whole
the
crop.
WWF. Yeah, dig it.
he was so good.
Yeah.
Great in the
On
ring.
the promos. yeah.
Way better than Hulk Hogan.
And I mean, his elbow drop, the
The
height,
best.
it's just always just dead set, just bam, right in the middle.
Stiff as a fucking board
Yeah.
flying over there.
Oh
Bam.
yeah, you ain't faking that.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Sean's with his like little like pop, like where he pops it. But I mean, Macho Man just comes down
yeah.
hard.
And he flies across the ring.
Yeah, he does. He gets like 3/4 of the way over there.
Yeah.
I love Macho Man. And then 5, this took a lot of thought while you guys were talking, but I got to put Triple H in there. He is
The game.
I'm not mad at it.
he's the bad guy.
Of our childhood, for sure.
He's always consistently good, always in the ring. I think he's underrated when it comes to selling. He sells.
Can I
so
just say his spine buster is one of the best
Oh,
spine
his
busters
spine
I've
buster's
ever
great.
seen.
Well, and he was such a good bad guy that the crowd missed him when he would get injured. Like, I just watched his 2007 return against King Booker at SummerSlam, man, the crowd was fucking going
Or when he
insane.
comes back from the quad, because remember
Yeah.
he was a piece
that's
of
one of the
shit
biggest pops
before. I mean,
ever.
like he gets booed every time he comes out, but then when he comes out, he's
Yeah.
in the
It's
the
literally-
jean jacket or whatever, the cutoff thing, and everybody just
Everyone
fucking
lost their shit.
explodes.
It's known as like top 3 greatest returns of all
Oh,
time.
it's-
Greatest crowd pops.
Yeah, it has to be.
That's what I'm saying. Like every time he came back, the crowd lost their minds, no matter how big a piece of shit he was
Yep.
before he left.
It's kind of like, remember when Seth Rollins was like gone for a while, and then
It's
he
'cause,
came
like,
back, and
no matter how much you hated him, you're like, man, something's missing
Yeah.
without him here.
it's just
Yeah.
not as complete of a
Oh yeah,
product.
the era that me and Christian are currently rewatching
Without
Triple H,
it's
it kind of
suffering.
sucks. There's no
It's
good bad
suffering.
guys. They try to force DDP in a bad guy role, and I think DDP could do it
And
if
Stone
it wasn't
Cold,
for the
Undertaker and the weird
The
stuff that they
stalking,
made him
yeah.
do.
I really wanted to see what the payoff was gonna be for the not the mega powers. Oh my god, what would they call Triple H and Stone Cold?
Oh yeah,
The
I
two-man
forgot
power
about
Yeah,
that.
2-man power.
Yeah, I
trip.
got you.
Yeah, because they were in the midst
That-
of like
and they were
that
gonna
tag team, and then
feud.
it was starting to unravel,
Oh,
and then he
man.
blew his quad
Yeah.
out. And I'm like, man, Triple H versus Stone
That might have been one
Cold.
of the best
That would've
stories
been-
ever.
yeah.
That could have been like leading up to like a WrestleMania.
I
We
forgot
never
about that.
got
We never
Stone
got
Cold versus Triple H at a
Oh my
WrestleMania.
God.
How the fuck did that
What?
not happen? That's fucking
The
crazy.
injury, man. That was, it
But
was
yeah,
literally terrible timing.
I feel like everyone always talks about Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, rightfully so. But Triple H, he's always there.
Yeah,
He's always good.
I can't hate that.
Nah.
I can't.
I mean,
hate
he
that.
replaced-
Wow, made
Good
my
pick.
Hurricane pick seem fucking dog shit.
It replaced. It was between Goldberg, Chris Jericho, and Triple H.
I
and
feel like you
just
picked
have
a
to go
good
with
one.
Triple H.
Yeah.
Triple H,
picked a good one.
Triple H deserved to be on one of our lists.
And you guys, neither one of you guys have The Rock either.
No,
Yeah.
no, because I watched Jumanji too. No, I'm okay.
Hey, that movie
No,
was
I'm just
actually
kidding.
kinda funny.
Yeah,
I couldn't
Jumanji's
think of.
not
Oh,
bad.
Tooth Fairy would have been an easier one.
That
My
was-
bad.
yeah,
I'll
that's a
hold on,
better
take
one.
two.
That's another thing. He tries too hard now. When The Rock comes back, I don't get excited.
No, I don't
He's
either.
not funny anymore.
And he's like way too huge and like not believable anymore. So I'm just like, I don't
When
know.
you go back and watch him back then, he was pretty big.
Yeah, but not like he is now.
No,
He's
not-
massive.
yeah.
Could you imagine if he was like yoked out back then? I don't think we would have been like,
A Rock
yeah,
fan.
go Rock. I don't know. It's
Or
just,
Because I also don't think he would have been able to go as long in his matches or been as like kind of agile as he was.
yeah.
Also, no other wrestler like The Rock is willing to just do whatever. Like, you know, Vince and stuff will be like, "Hey, you're gonna put this guy over," and he's like, "All
Okay.
right." Yeah.
Yeah, he had. It didn't seem like he had a problem.
Like when he
putting
lost to
over
Hurricane,
Goldberg?
Yeah.
he put the
When he
Hurricane
lost to
over in a
Goldberg,
match. Yeah,
the
that was-
biggest star in WWF at the time, and then the biggest star in WCW,
yeah.
and he's like, "Hey, he's gonna beat you." The Rock's like, "All right." He didn't.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he had a problem like losing to people.
Yeah.
Like,
Not like he does, like, for some reason now, like, he won't lose in his movies, I guess.
Yeah,
said
he has like a clause in some of his movies where like
they can, like, tie or something, but he can't lose.
he won't lose.
yeah,
on screen.
thanks. Now we're not gonna get him and Superman fighting. Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
that shit.
Alright, well, I guess we'll stay on this and do our top 5 MMA.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
guess we'll do reverse
Ah.
insult this time.
Me.
Yeah.
Number one's Anderson Silva,
Yeah.
best ever.
This is another hard one for me, though.
2 is GSP.
I was about to say, I was like, it has to be GSP.
I was a huge GSP fan before he even got the belt.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want
I
to say I'm like a
remember
hipster, but I was big.
I liked him
GSP
before
fan.
I knew he was Canadian.
I thought it was just some
I thought he
weird
was
European
French. I didn't know he was French Canadian. I just thought he was French.
God, it's the
His
same.
accent,
It's the
yeah.
same
guy.
world.
It's close, yeah.
Yeah,
Three-
both eat snails. I'm assuming. I don't know shit. I'm not very cultured.
3 is Jose Aldo. I
Love
in
Jose. Love
the
Jose.
first 2 rounds, he's the best fighter ever. If he could keep his cardio up the whole fight, he'd be unbeatable. Except for the Connor, you know, because he caught him. But yeah, he's crazy.
What was it? Wait, didn't he? Who did he drop? Was it? Jeremy Stevens with the body
The
shot?
body shots.
Oh, that was one of the
That was his
nastiest body
comeback,
shots.
too, after losing.
Yeah.
That was one of the nastiest body shots I've ever seen in MMA. That was
Yeah.
one of the cleanest body shots. And the fact that it was on Jeremy Stevens. That was
Yeah.
great.
Oh man.
Alright, who's 4? Yeah,
Probably-
That was starting to get hard. for me,
Probably
too.
Chuck Liddell.
Oh, I could almost get your list because I was like, it's gonna be Chuck. Like in my head, I'm like, that's Chuck.
He
Yeah.
got me
I think I
like
might know who
like
won.
we were watching MMA, but like he was the first mega star.
Yeah.
He was the first guy. Like he was
Like,
just
Chuck
knocking
Liddell was
everybody
fighting,
out.
You had to watch it.
Chuck was just a different you just had to have been
Bro,
there in
even
his
when he like lost and got like knocked out, they were still great fights.
Yeah.
Like they put
But
on
he was
great
usually
matches.
winning before he got caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that Rashad head kick. God damn. What a killer of dreams. Damn you, Rashad. Like,
5 is probably Rumble Johnson.
Yeah,
There's-
I knew there was 2. I didn't know which one you were gonna pick.
There's nobody, not even Francis Ngannou, that was more entertaining knockout artist than Rumble Johnson, because he wasn't like flailing like Francis. Like,
no, he picked
was
his
crisp,
shots.
head kicks, and
Uppercut. His
yeah.
uppercut is dead.
Man, R.I.P.
his defensive
Oh,
wrestling.
So sad.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he had a great shot at being champion if he just
wouldn't
wouldn't have wrestled
The
DC.
Olympic wrestler.
It's like you
And then the
you can
first
knock
fight.
this guy out.
he
in
had
the
him
first
rocked.
fight. Yeah, in the first fight when he dropped DC, if he would have just take his time, like when you go back,
But
and
yeah, he
rewatch-
started going. He was like the moment got to him.
Yeah, when you rewatch
Too
the
excited.
Gustafsson fight, he dropped Gustafsson, and he's taking his time, walking him down, throwing precision strikes. I'm like, why didn't you do that against DC? Not saying he would have won for sure, but
It would
You had
Way
had a
better
better shot.
chance.
Definitely would have had a better
I
shot.
would
DC still says to this day, even after fighting heavyweight, that Rumble hit harder than anyone's ever fought.
Yeah, fucking hit like a fucking truck.
yeah, there's not many fighters that I got more excited for when they were on the card. Than
Yeah, it
Rumble
didn't matter
Johnson.
what spot in the card. He could be the first match. You're not
Yeah,
missing
even
that
at
match.
welterweight, I would always, because I was arguing with Dad, because Dad was going for Dan Hardy when he fought Rumble Johnson, saying that he was going to knock Rumble Johnson out, and I was like, "You're crazy! Have you seen his highlights when he was at welterweight? He's a monster. He won that fight boring. He was taking Dan Hardy down, which
Yeah. Welterweight Rumble wasn't my favorite, but when he got his shit together and went to light heavy and heavyweight,
man, even some of his highlights at welterweight,
he
was a
still had
monster.
highlights, but just missing weight so many times.
Oh,
and stuff. He
and
just never should.
Is there
Yeah.
anyone more nice than Rumble?
I know that's what it's like. The weird thing is like outside of the
Yeah,
cage,
don't disrespect this man.
Yeah,
He's the
nice-
champ, but I'm
yeah.
coming for that belt though.
Yeah,
Like,
he couldn't talk shit about anybody.
Yeah, he was
so
amazing.
He was the nicest guy. He was always smiling, always.
Yeah.
It just sucks that he died.
yeah, R.I.P. R.I.P. Anthony.
That
Johnson.
was the roughest
Oh,
MMA
man.
death.
Yeah.
by far.
So far.
So
yeah,
far,
Yeah, no.
the happiest one will be when fucking
Dana. I'm just
yeah, exactly.
All right. My number one also Anderson Silva. Just greatest ever. I can't.
the things he
It's just-
did.
Yeah, man. Watching an Anderson Silva fight, the lead up to it, like you'd be so nervous, and then when he starts like whooping ass, you're like, I knew it. It's just, what was I nervous
Why
about?
was
I
I
knew
nervous?
Yeah,
And then
whatever.
The next
Yeah.
time.
Just nothing. Since he retired, or I guess since he lost the belt, no fight has ever made me feel like a prime Anderson Silva fight. Like, man, those were the most exciting UFC cards.
Yeah.
Like even like the stacked cards nowadays. I'm like, oh yeah.
But
I'm
remember,
excited.
there was a time that
He
we
had a
all
couple
a little
crap- he
that
had a
we
couple
all
boring
kind of were a little bit over
We
it.
hated on him a little bit.
He was getting those couple three. Those,
Like
it was
that,
like
that
those three
yeah,
fights.
those
But he
like
wiped
Damian
that.
Maya. You're like, oh my god,
Damian
put this
Maia-
motherfucker
The
out.
one I won't blame on him though is
Damn, man.
there's a
Oh, no,
Talis Latis.
Talis Latis. He was
Because
a
Talis
bitch.
Latis was running, he
He
kept
was a
falling on the
bitch.
ground every time Anderson tried to do anything. I won't really blame him on Anderson.
But I just remember there was that time where we were like, oh my god, this better be
Yeah.
Killer
That
Anderson.
Vitor Belfort wiped those 3 fights. Talis Latis, Patrick Cote, and
yeah.
Damian Maya out of our mouths quick. When
Well,
he knocked out
see,
Vitor with that straight
The
kick, we
only
were like...
I feel like the only one you could really like blame on him was Damian Maya because he could have put Damian Maya out, but he was being dumb.
Also,
the Patrick Cote one. Patrick Cote hurt his knee
yeah,
like in the
Anderson
second
was
round.
kicking his ass. He did that flying Superman elbow. He had him in the clinch. He was messing him up, and then
Yeah, he hurt his knee.
Yeah,
and they
he
had to
stepped
call
forward.
the
And,
fight. But then the
fell
Damian
down.
Maya one, he was being too stupid.
yeah,
But I just think he's the best. I don't know, just the stuff he did, and I think he might have affected the sport more than anybody, like pay-per-view sale wise. Like for like that streak, the 8-year
Yeah,
streak he was.
Because I was like, yeah, it's definitely Connor. But-
well, yeah, he definitely started selling more pay-per-views, but I think like hardcore MMA fans know that Anderson was like the real.
he's
like,
the man.
2, BJ Penn. Always loved.
Oh
BJ.
man, the prodigy.
Dedicated, focused BJ Penn was almost impossible to beat.
I knew you were gonna put BJ Penn there.
Yeah, I love BJ Penn.
Christian was the biggest BJ Penn.
I remember.
Lightweight BJ
I know,
Penn.
because as soon as we get to like my number 2, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. Like,
Lightweight BJ Penn was man. What he did to Diego Sanchez, what he did to Joe Stevenson,
Kenny Florian.
Kenny Florian. Oh, my God. He
oh
just wrecked
man,
everybody. Sean
Kenny
Shirk,
Florian. God, I feel so bad for
That-
him.
one of the best promos ever. Just Sean Shirk, you're dead. It's
Yeah,
just,
John
you just do it
you're
out
dead.
of nowhere. It's just-
And one of the best dudes to like not win a title. Like he was a great fighter, but goddamn, that guy could not get over the fucking hump.
Yeah,
Sean
fucked up.
Sherk,
No, God, who were we just talking about?
Joe Stevenson.
Kenny
No.
Florian.
Kenny Florian.
Oh yeah, he has
Yeah.
so many. He has
I
like
will
4
have to say
opportunities
one thing about Sean Sherk. He's a bum.
He's
He was a fucking bum.
Sean Sherk, you're a bum.
When he got that flying knee, he was like, "He's done. It's over." And Sean Sherk was like,
I'm surprised it took
It's-
BJ that long to finish that fucking bum.
"Yeah."
That midget bum.
He's on steroids.
3 is a little more recent, but he always was one of our favorite fighters, Charles Oliveira.
Yep.
We always
Yup.
loved
Wow,
him.
you put
Yup.
Charles on there?
Yup.
Dude, we always liked
I
Charles.
agree. I'm
And
there.
then this last
I'm
2-year
there.
run just like solidified, like, yeah, Charles is.
I'm there. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. He's in my list.
Amid the Islam fight, he didn't look like himself, so I kind of hope he can come back and get on the horse.
That
But
Islam fight was
even if he
weird.
doesn't, just the fact that after everything, the journeyman he was for so long, win loss, just to like go on that streak and become champ, nobody ever expected it. So he's like his legacy's cemented. So, 4, I got Chuck Liddell also. He was just first superstar, first guy that we were like crazy about. His knockouts are ridiculous. The freaking Tito Ortiz fights are some of the hypest we've ever been.
Oh
The
man.
Randy
Randy Couture fights.
Oh, the Randy Couture fights. When he got knocked out by Randy the first time, we were so pissed.
Yeah.
Then he came back and beat his ass both times.
Man, that was so fun.
The Vanderlei Silva fight.
Yeah.
After his prime, that was just such
He
a
wants to
badass fight.
fuck Chuck.
I want to fight
Fight,
Chuck.
Chuck.
But yeah, 4, 5. I was really it was hard. I'm gonna go with Cowboy. Freaking.
He's in my top 10 for sure.
He's the best guy that never won a belt. Has to be. And just like his fight, we were.
He never
so
even
excited
got
for
the
his fight.
opportunity to fight for a belt.
Because
Did he?
he'd always
Yeah.
lose the.
He did. He lost to
Oh.
Rafael Dos Anjos.
Oh,
and
that's
Ben
right.
Henderson.
That's right.
But he-
Never mind.
That's the thing, is he would always choke in the big one. Like he was the best fighter, and then right in the big one, he just choked.
Yeah,
Like,
you
when
go on a 6-fight tear, just destroying everybody, and then just die.
And then all of a sudden they put like title eliminator on it, and you lose to Nate Diaz. Like, come on.
I just want to say Connor is a bitch for waiting so long to fight Cowboy after coming off of 3 brutal fights,
Yeah.
2 brutal knockouts, and that
Freaking Tony Ferguson blowing his eye out when he.
no,
yeah,
that
when he
was-
blew his nose. And
He got knocked out by Justin Gaethje. That he got fucked up by Tony, and that fucking brutal fight with oh my god, the fucking real estate guy.
Oh, Ally.
Ally
Quinta.
Quinta.
They were fucking beating the shit out of each other. And then Connor comes in. Oh, now I'll fight him, bitch, pussy ass bitch.
But yeah, Cowboy, just like the entertainment that he gave, how good he was, or like well rounded. From WEC, we were watching.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I feel like if he would have, instead of like, doing the bull riding and the skydiving and all that, just one like 2-year span, just focused on fighting,
MMA,
he would have been
probably
champ.
champ.
Yeah.
He had the skill set to be champ. He just
And I
wasn't
wish he
always
would
in the
have
mindset.
used his Brazilian jiu-jitsu more.
Yeah.
Because that guy,
He was,
he was
underrated
yeah.
on the ground, very underrated on the ground.
His revenge wins on Ben Henderson and Anthony Pettis proved
Anthony Pettis beat him.
he could
second
beat
time.
them. Nah.
Remember?
Oh.
Controversial decision.
Yeah.
Cowboy
that's
won that
right.
fight.
And I will say, Cowboy has the cleanest combo that 3-piece and
Oh
head
my
kick.
God,
John
yeah.
Brick,
Bah,
the
it
horror
was
story.
it was
But
it was
speaking,
oh
Anthony Pettis was close to making my list.
What?
I love.
He
Anthony
proved to be a
Pettis.
bum.
He's not a bum.
He's a fucking bum.
I think the sport just evolved.
past him. I
him.
would say that. Yeah,
As-
he grew faster.
He
than
was the
everybody
pinnacle
else, and then
of
everybody
his-
kind of went past.
Yeah.
Besides Cowboy and Ben Henderson, who has he beaten?
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Oh,
Fool.
he was getting his ass beat though.
But then who woke up in the back? Sorry, Steven. I know you're not going
He
to be mad at
tapped
me.
out fucking Michael Chiesa.
That was dope, too.
Because Michael Chiesa's
He was huge.
amazing.
Yeah, he was
And
way
he almost
bigger,
had
though.
Tony. He almost knocked Tony out.
Yeah.
That was a good fight.
That was a good fight.
And then broke his hand. Yeah, that
But
was
I
a good
will
fight.
admit, I think he's another person that the money and the luxury life kind of got to him. He wasn't.
Yeah,
He
he
became
wasn't
more
safe
of
after
a
the
pretty
Weezy
boy
spots.
spokesman.
Yeah, he always used to be like cut and like you could tell he
And
was
got a
gonna
little
fight you, but
doughy.
then- yeah, he was
Maybe
always.
I mean, but at the same time, that's when USADA came in. Just Johnny Hendricks, Anthony
Yeah,
Pettis.
you're
Yeah.
not wrong. You're not wrong.
not speculating
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
But
That's...
I get what you're saying. But yeah, those are my 5.
Also, what's his name? Oh my god, the middleweight cheating piece. Chris Weidman. As soon as USADA comes in, all of a sudden he starts getting knocked out left and right. Come on.
It's like, hey, check his shins. Like, those are steroid using shins right there. Just breaking legs. But,
no bigger, what do you call it? Karma than what happened to Chris Weidman. And people are like, oh, you shouldn't celebrate that. He was acting like such a dick when he did it to Anderson. So, he deserved it. He deserved it.
I understand. Oh, shit, man, now it's me. I don't have to think of my top 5 and make sure mine are not as bad as my wrestling ones.
I mean,
God, I feel
personal
like
preference.
it is, and
Because
I feel like without saying
one of your guys is, and it's definitely personal preference.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
It's
Diego Sanchez. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Okay. All right. Whatever. What's Diego Sanchez? All right. No, actually, well, number 1 is always Anderson. It's
Yes.
always Anderson. He's the greatest of all time. I don't give a fuck. Us 3 will fight you in the parking lot. Like,
the guys he beat, people don't like to talk about the guys he beat. Rich Franklin was a badass. Made him look easy twice. Dan Henderson, one of the pride.
Vitor Belfort on TRT.
Yeah.
Oh
One
my
of the greatest
god.
knockouts ever, and that was in between those fights, going up to light heavyweight, knocking.
Yeah.
dudes out.
Forrest Griffin.
Yeah, Forrest Griffin, Stephen
Going
Bonner, Sam Van
backwards. I want to say just pow. Just
Dude, the push off on Stephen Bonner, and then he ricochets off
moved out
facing
of the
that
way.
knee to the solar plexus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Or
that
when he
was
moved
brutal.
out of the way, the spinning kick, and then just walked back. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, man.
But man, he literally
Just tapped
slingshotted
Stephen.
him off the cage into
Oh,
the
which,
spinning
by the
was
way,
great.
rest in peace, Stephen Bonner.
Yeah,
oh,
that
man,
is
yep.
sad. I know he went
The American
psycho the last
he
few
lost
years,
his mind for a little
but
bit.
I think there was more to it. CTE. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I'm sure, and he was
'Cause
his
he never
fighting
used to be
style,
like that.
and his fighting style was very. He took a lot of
punishment.
damage,
Yeah.
and
That's why
yeah,
I'm
that's very
surprised
sad.
Forrest is like as coherent as he is.
Because Forrest stopped.
You know,
fighting.
I still think Stephen
He
Bonner.
did stop at a good time.
I still think Stephen Bonner won the first Forrest
That was a
Most
good
people
fight.
do.
Yeah,
Forrest
that was-
Griffin
But then Forrest
thought
Griffin
he
came
did.
back and beat the fuck out of
Beat
him in
the
the
dog
second
out
of
fight.
him,
yeah, because he was able to afford trainers.
Yeah.
But yeah, to Diego Sanchez, because like when I first saw him, that guy was a monster.
Dude, he was 21-0.
Yeah.
And then his biggest downfall was he stopped wrestling.
Yeah, and then just started trying to knock people out.
Yeah,
and
he
you're like,
got-
dude, you don't
that's
have
the
hands
thing.
like that. You just don't.
Josh Koscheck too. They get one knockout, then like, oh, I'm a knockout.
Yeah, and then see what happens when Tyron Woodley. Like it literally that it might just be that division that every time a wrestler gets a
Yeah.
knockout, they just and then they get knocked out by the next wrestler who continues the trend.
Yeah, that's
now it's
weird.
Kamaru Usman.
That
He
is
got
weird.
fucking
Kamaru Usman, to be fair, did use wrestling for most of the fight.
Yeah, he did. And then, oof. So
He graded that. That would be a different topic.
Yeah, that's a whole that's a whole another story. More to come.
Yeah.
We'll be back after this.
All right.
Man, holy crap. Number 3, Justin Gaethje. I don't give a
Wow,
fuck. That guy.
I knew he was
That
gonna...
yeah.
You've always had high praise for Jeff.
I love Justin. I love the way he fights. Talk about taking fucking damage. I mean, that guy is a real life fucking Rocky Balboa. I love all of his fights. Like,
Did you see the potential fight they're rumoring?
what are they rumoring?
Rafael Fiziev.
Oh,
That's
that's gonna be
I
nasty.
don't know, though, man. Rafael Fiziev striking is...
Yeah, he's crisp. That's gonna.
It's gonna be
He has good
nasty.
It could be
defense.
a really good knockout or a great fight.
Yep.
One of the two.
It's either going to be a good fight or Justin Gaethje getting fucking his face smashed in.
And I've always been a fan of Justin Gaethje. I mean, even since the World Series of Fighting, I was like, watching this dude like, who the fuck is this guy with his crooked ass eye? This guy's
Yeah,
crazy.
this guy's
Like,
nuts.
I love
Doing
this guy.
backflips.
Yeah,
He was,
he's
the,
awesome.
he was the one guy who didn't take it easy on that dude with one arm.
Yep. No, he beat the brakes off that dude. He's like, oh, he can't block the left. Like,
Yeah, you're not slowing my
Yeah.
dude down. Okay,
Yeah, and his and he was some of the best leg kicks in mixed martial arts. I mean, they are fucking
Except for-
nasty.
And he's like
Remember
the
how
only person
hard-
that'll keep hammering.
Oh yeah, when he kicked
Hard we laughed when he kicked
Charles.
Edson Barboza.
Oh,
yeah, and then
Barboza
Edson hit him
whacked
back, and he was like,
just
"Fuck that."
He said, "Oh shit, I'm just gonna."
Yeah,
punch
he
this
literally
guy.
backed up, was like, all right. And then he just...
I gotta get out of here.
Yeah,
now.
I gotta get the fuck out of here before this guy cripples me.
He was literally like, even talking about it up to the... We're going to see who has the better leg kicks. One leg kick from Edson.
It was like blood. It was like blood sport, you know, like when they're
Yeah.
kicking each other's ribs. He got one. He was like, "Blam!"
One leg kick. He
Time
literally said...
out.
He
Time
literally
out.
went, ah.
Like, yeah, my leg's broke. I gotta get out of here now.
Oh god, that's my third. Okay, so then fourth we got Cowboy. I've always been a Cowboy fan. That guy, of course. I mean, what can we say that we already haven't said about Cowboy? Yeah. I mean, it's just fun. He's just a cool dude.
He's just one of the most entertaining.
Yeah.
It pisses me off that everyone's surpassing his records. Those records seem so great
It's
at
just
the time.
because now longevity is like so long. Like,
His records, I was like, man, it's gonna be a while for some beats. And then it was like 2 years, everyone's beating it now. I was like,
dang. Yeah.
You know, in my last one, I'm surprised nobody's really brought him up. DC. DC.
I've never been big DC.
I've always been a big DC fan.
DC
I love,
fan, but he's
one of the best.
and he beat prime people too.
Yeah,
I mean,
he beat a lot of good fighters.
He beat great fighters.
Nobody remembers. He was beating John Jones' ass in that second fight.
Oh yeah, he was winning.
Yeah, he was
clearly ahead. And then got caught.
Yeah, and his weird clinch game. His clinch game is some of the best clinch work.
His dirty boxing is amazing.
The fact that this defense works is so crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then like I said, and then being only 5'11", fighting these giants at like heavyweight and being the last was it Strikeforce Grand Prix winner. Yeah. Back then Strikeforce was a big fucking deal.
Bigfoot,
yeah.
Josh
Barnett. Oh my god! I know he fought somebody else.
Was that it?
He beat somebody. Brett Rogers,
he came in.
wasn't it?
Oh, I think
he came in
late. I think Brett Rogers was.
So he only had to fight the two.
Yeah, he did only because he replaced.
He was a replacement for Alistair.
But he. I mean, just the people that he beat were just fantastic.
The craziest thing is,
have we ever been more sad
until he was 30? Imagine if he was training
since
he was like 20.
Have we ever been more sad in the middle of a fight than when DC was ragdolling?
Yeah. No, because I did like watching him getting that FU, like, blam! That was like, damn!
Dan Henderson shouldn't have been.
The funniest thing is we were going for DC in that fight. We knew he was going to win. But when he started like picking him up and like doing WWE moves, we were like,
this is bad.
Fucking spinning him on his finger.
End this fight, please.
Dan Henderson, he's way too small to ever fight at light heavy.
And it's like, and I would
those fights at like 196.
But he was powerful.
Yeah,
powerful.
That punch.
I want to know who hit harder, him or Rumble. Like just a straight, just a
dude. When he slipped under and knocked out Fedor, that like slide
out that uppercut slide out thing. Because that was when Fedor was like,
my dad was such a big Fedor fan, and we
were like, I was there for that. We're like, fuck.
He got mad at us. That's why he kicked us downstairs.
Yeah, because we were like, because. Who could hate Dan Henderson?
He used to be a Dan Henderson. I don't know why he likes Fedor that much.
I will say the one consistent dad was always a Fedor fan. I don't know why, but he was always consistently a Fedor fan. It's because he'd always stay up watching those HD.
Nick Diaz too.
Yeah,
he hated Nick Diaz, but then he loved him when he was in Strikeforce. He was one of the best ever. Remember that? He got mad at us too.
Yep.
We were so pissed when Paul Daley just like had that delayed knockout.
Yeah, and then he comes back to the UFC, and all of a sudden Dad hates him again. Oh, he's such a trash-talking bitch. It's like, he's always been that way.
I remember your dad flipped out on me because I was like, God, get off his dick. And he's like, what the fuck does that supposed to mean? I was like, I was just kidding. Like,
I remember that.
I was like, dude, I was just kidding. Like, you were way too into this.
Speaking of, like, reactions like that, you remember when Chael was beating Anderson for 4.5 rounds, and we were all just sitting there?
The exact same
and then
reaction.
He was like, oh, we got a triangle.
We all, fuck Chael.
And then we found out his ribs were broke. Chael popped for PD. We were like, now we
knew. Of course.
We knew.
Nobody would touch Anderson Silva. He's the greatest.
Because then the rematch we showed.
Like, we knew in the rematch. We were like, Anderson's going to win.
He is not going to leave this. Yeah. He's not going to leave this man alive.
When he was like, I'll break your face, man. We were like, oh, Chael, you better be scared.
Who was it Stephan Bonner? Like at the end of the fight, he was like, "Yeah, come over to the barbecue. We're serving turd burgers."
No, that was Chael Sonnen.
Was that Chael Sonnen?
I love Chael.
Chael's great.
Chael Sonnen said something about a barbecue or
he
whatever,
said
and Anderson
his
beat
wife
him.
can come over and have a barbecue. She can cook me a steak.
I'll slap her on the ass and tell her to cook me a steak.
And Anderson beat him and was like, "Hey, if you want to come over for a barbecue," it was like, "Damn, that was cool."
That's why it was cool. The only good thing to come out of that Anderson Jake Paul fight was seeing Anderson and Chael like be kind of buddies for a little bit. That was pretty cool.
Now that Chael's out of fighting, I love Chael.
He's hilarious.
I love Chael.
Him and Michael Bisping. We used to hate their guts.
Yep, hated Michael Bisping.
Man, they're hilarious.
I think I stopped hating Michael Bisping after he got knocked out by Dan Henderson, where you're like, I think that was bad enough. Yeah. You've learned your lesson. Like,
I hated him when he beat Anderson, because he didn't really beat Anderson.
Anderson won that fight.
He got knocked out and I think lost the decision, but somehow still won the fight.
Why
It's
does the
like very
referee
weird.
give him so much time?
So Herb Dean explained himself, and he said it's because Michael Bisping was talking to him coherently, so he knew he was okay.
So you just let him sit on the goddamn stool for like 10 minutes? That was
because I
was
guess
like,
Michael Bisping said, "Don't you stop this fight? I'm okay." And Herb Dean said, "All right."
he was out.
Yeah, he was literally laying against the cage, bloody. "Don't you stop this fight?
And
I'm
the
I'm
all
all
right."
right, mate. No, I don't know.
I'm all right.
That was way
Yeah, it was
Australian.
way
Hey, I'm not
Australian.
great at accents. I'll work on it.
We're all known for our dialects.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
Alright, let's stick to the UFC and talk about fights that we think we need to see this year.
Well, I'm gonna
This
start
year?
off already one that we need to see this year.
I feel like this one we don't really have to have a list. We'll just kind of
but one that I need to see, whether it's this year or the next year.
Yeah, just
it
like-
has to be
I guess it doesn't
Michael
have to
Chandler.
specifically be this.
It has to be
year.
Michael Chandler, Connor.
That's
like,
okay.
There has to be.
That'll be a good fight.
It has to be. There's got to be fireworks. Like somebody's going out in that fight.
Okay.
Which Michael Chandler is also another fighter like Gaethje, where win or lose,
He's
that
gonna fail, yeah.
motherfucker's putting on a show.
I think Michael beats Connor kind of easy. To
I
be
don't
honest.
think so.
But
He uses wrestling.
Yeah.
to be honest, though, I think the Connor fight to make is Jorge. Those two guys, they're both on a losing streak, but they're huge stars.
Oh, yeah.
Connor's gonna come back at welterweight. That's
We've
money.
been talking about this forever.
money
Two
fight.
strikers.
Yeah, and none of them have to worry about a takedown. Just
Yeah,
And
just
we finally
just
get to
throw it.
see, like, because Jorge Masvidal, even though we're not the biggest fans anymore, he has crisp boxing.
He really
has good
does.
head movement. He knows how to put combinations together. He knows how to lay traps and make you walk into them. And I want to see if someone can finally just... I mean, we've seen Dustin Poirier do it, kind of, but Dustin was also kind of getting caught. But someone to just,
Like clean knockout.
Just- I kind of want to see someone outstrike him, like just piece him up, just bust his face all up and shit. That's what I want to see. I want to see someone.
that's why I think that's the best fight for Connor.
I
It's the
think-
most money fight. It's
And-
a winnable fight for both guys. So either way, whoever wins, you got a star still.
Yep.
I think it's the perfect.
I honestly
fight.
think,
but the
though-
Michael Chandler one is a good fight to me.
I
honestly
want
think-
Michael Chandler so bad.
I think Connor whoops Michael Chandler's ass, if I'm being
You
honest.
think so?
If you
think
look
so?
at his fights at featherweight, other than the
But I think
what is
Michael.
that Chad Mendes fight? If Connor was injured, so he couldn't stuff the takedowns as good. But even Khabib, he was doing decent, making Khabib work for the takedowns. Michael Chandler's
But-
not as good as grappler.
Michael.
Michael Chandler's so fucking sloppy.
But
on the feet.
he.
But he's
fought-
explosively strong too.
he
is,
was
but
way
if Connor,
closer at beating Dustin than Connor was. The last two fights.
yeah, but that's also because he has better wrestling. But if Connor,
He didn't really wrestle though.
but if
Yeah,
Connor,
that was a slugfest all the way.
what Michael Chandler and
Dustin
Dustin,
Poirier.
Yeah,
He
he
wrestled
wrestled
in
in
the
the second and
the
third
second-
round.
Oh,
Yeah, but the first round he was catching Dustin.
Yeah, his barrages, but Connor's faster than Dustin.
Yeah.
If Connor uses his more,
well, we don't know if he's faster anymore.
well,
He's
yeah,
putting
that's
on all
true.
that
That's
muscle.
true.
We don't know
Well,
if
Connor needs to take a tune-up fight. I don't like Connor, but if he's smart,
He'd take
He
a
needs to
tune-up
take a
fight,
fucking
yeah.
tune-up
Well, then
fight.
who would his tune-up fight be?
I
Like,
think
if you're gonna give him a tune-up
I
fight.
mean, a name, but not like one of the top tens. Like, throw him in there with like Edson Barboza or something.
Ooh, that's not a tune-up fight at all.
Yeah. I think
You
Jorge's
just went
more
from
of a
0 to
tune-up.
80.
Edson Barboza's chin, though,
He is
no
older,
one has
yeah.
a worse chin than
Yeah, but if you're also have a surgically
But see-
redone leg,
But
you're
the-
really gonna throw him
the
into
problem with-
Edson, kill your leg Barbosa?
the problem with that though is also like Edson's fighting at 145 now, and I don't think Connor's.
I mean, Tony.
He's got to fight at 170.
Tony's
Maybe
not bad.
Tony.
I would give him the. Tony
But I don't want
fight.
to see Connor beat up.
I
Tony.
don't want to see
I
anybody
don't,
beat up
but
Tony
imagine if
anymore.
Tony won.
That'd be
That'd be
crazy.
great.
Tony
just don't
looks
see it.
One
awful
last
now.
hurrah.
I don't see it though. I
Look
just
how
don't.
bad he looked against Nate.
But why did he look so good in the Michael Chandler fight?
I don't know.
The first round, he was piecing Michael Chandler up.
I don't know what happened. Just
That
fucking-
knockout just changed him. I think that was the last.
Oh, Gaethje when
No, the
Gaethje
front
put it.
kick on
Oh
Chandler.
yeah, that was.
think that just,
brutal.
like-
Yeah.
because he looked really great in the Chandler first round, and then after that knockout, I don't think he can.
But yeah, I just
Yeah, he hasn't won
I
a round
really
since.
think because I was watching the Dustin Poirier fight, and when Dustin Poirier started getting going, using his boxing, Michael Chandler's just he has no defense, and Connor if he
Well, and he gasses.
But Connor's-
like,
but if Connor dodges one punch and lands one good one, Michael Chandler's he's going out.
Probably, yeah.
He also doesn't have the best chin.
No,
We've
no.
seen him walk.
But I don't know.
Stumble,
I don't know
knocked
what
out.
Connor's gonna look like.
That's
back.
that's the thing though. If he comes back,
Because how long has it
slow
been?
and
How
shit,
long has it been since he's been? It's like almost 3
It's
years.
been a long time.
It was he fought Dustin summer.
The beginning of last year, right?
Oh, so
It was
okay.
like August.
But I mean,
2021.
before that, it was
Yeah,
also
and then before-
another.
yeah.
So it'll be like 2 years before he comes back.
He's
probably.
definitely not as crisp as he used to be.
no, and I don't think he's as fast either.
He just doesn't have the killer instinct.
He's also a big baby. I feel like his drive is gone.
Yeah, when you make $100 million, kind of hard to get out of bed and
like
when
he
you're-
wants to come
like
in,
the Holyfield
dominate.
quote, it's
Yeah.
hard to get out of bed
Yeah.
when you're sleeping inside.
It's he wants to come in, dominate. And that's it. He doesn't want a hard fight. He doesn't want to lose. Because as soon as he loses, what does he do? Cry. At first, he's okay. Yeah, I just gotta get back in there,
Except
fight
for
more.
The second Dustin fight or the third.
Yeah,
Dustin
and
fight.
then but then he's like, oh, he's a big crybaby and does dumb shit and
I think another fight we need to see. As much as I don't really like these two guys, Hamza and Colby have to fight. They have to fight. That's the
yeah.
only logical matchup in that division. They have to fight for the number one contender.
because
Because Usman
Leon
and Leon are
have to
rematching.
have.
Leon
the
said
last-
today they talked to Usman's camp and they said the fight's on, so that's going to be the fight. Hamza and Colby have to fight for the title shot.
And
I-
it's
Fight
so
that makes
weird
sense.
how this will be the only time I really root for Colby.
You're going for Colby over
Just
Hamza?
yeah, okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why I'm going for him.
No, I'd have to. go
And
for
it's
Hamza.
three simple things: USA, 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 But okay, if we're just talking fighters, yeah, I hope he fucking I hope Colby just gets dusted. Like if we're just talking fighters, but it's just USA.
Kamsa makes me nervous fighting Colby. I think Gilbert kind of exposed him a little bit.
Well, we got to see it. There's no other way.
Yeah, but I also want Kamsa to be at middleweight, and I want
he
Colby
should.
to fight Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns needs a fucking fight.
He's fighting.
Yeah.
He's fighting Neil Magny
What?
Gilbert Burns versus Neil Magny? Ugh.
in February, I believe.
God,
Or March.
if
I
Burns
think
doesn't.
Gilbert, well, that's the thing. No, everyone was ducking Gilbert, so I think he was just like, "I'll just give me a fight." and I'll take
Colby
it.
doesn't deserve a top guy at all. He's never beaten anyone that's in the current top 10. And how long is this?
Yeah,
layoff
you're
been?
right. In the current top
But I mean,
10,
if
yeah.
we're going off of these rankings, that's what they want us to
I
do.
want the
They're
UFC. I
2
want
and
Dana
3
White
right
to
now.
keep his word about how it's not going to be corrupt and go back to how it used to be. All these people fighting whoever the fuck they want is getting old.
Yeah.
I just think that's the only fight that makes sense for that division for the next title shot. Honestly,
No, I think that would be a
because
great
everyone's saying
fight to watch.
Belil, but Belil hasn't beat anybody either.
I think this would be his.
He needs he should be fighting Gilbert Burns. It should be Gilbert Burns. And Belil.
Oh, I would.
Bilal Muhammad could put up a good fight against
I would
Colby.
love to see that.
He could. That'd
I
be
would
a
love
good
to see
fight.
that.
But I mean, if you don't do Hamzat and Colby, what do you do with Hamzat?
Hamzat needs to fight at middleweight.
But I don't think he's gonna. I
'Cause
think
he's
he
a
will
bitch.
eventually, but I think he's trying to.
And
get
then him
the
saying,
170
"Oh,
belt first.
that brings up a good point." That whole rant of him saying, "No one wants to fight me." Gilbert Burns, Robert Whitaker, Neil Magny, they all said
I would
that they
love
would
to
fight.
see Robert Whitaker in that. I would love
Well,
to see
Kamsat
that.
literally said he didn't want to fight Rob Whitaker because he's too nice. But he knows Rob Whitaker has a very problematic style for Kamsat. He can't handle.
He
Robert
literally
Whitaker.
can do anything. Like
Yeah.
Robert Whitaker can do
His
everything.
takedown defense against Yoel Romero, Kamsat's like, I don't want none of that because he's gonna fuck me up on the feet. But Kamsat makes me nervous because he gasses. I think he starts to get gassed.
Yeah, we saw that in the
Gilbert
Burns fight.
and even Kevin Holland, he was starting to breathe heavy. If Kevin Holland could have got out of that submission, he might have fucking won that fight.
Yeah. The last fight, it's just got. I know we don't like him, but it's just got to be any John Jones heavyweight fight.
I say John Jones
Do
and
it
Stipe.
already.
Done.
Well,
Or
done.
John
So-
Jones and Cyril Gane. Gane.
So that's the
Man,
thing.
I feel like
They
he'd
don't
get
know-
pieced up by Cyril.
They don't know if Francis is going to be ready in March or even re-sign. He's still technically he's about to be. I think at the end of this month he's
He's a free agent, yeah.
And then
But no, well, technically, since he's champion, that they have a right to his next 3 fights or something. UFC's weird like that with their champions. If you win the
Well,
championship
yeah.
in your last fight or
it
whatever,
was like that before.
Yeah.
But he has in his contract an actual deadline date that if that deadline hits, he can go.
oh, he can go.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
That's why he's waiting so long.
He should do
But-
the
and
Alondra Blaze and fucking
They don't
throw
know
the
if
shit in
his
the
knee's
trash.
gonna be fully ready yet either. But Stipe is second choice, but he doesn't know if he even wants to come back, let alone for the little money they're offering him.
Curtis Blades. What's a better test for John Jones than Curtis Blades?
Cyril Gahn already said, "Hey, I'm ready for March, John Jones. If you don't have a fight by then, let's do it." I don't think John wants that fight.
I wouldn't want that for
I
me.
beginning to think he doesn't want to fight a heavyweight at all.
I mean,
if he doesn't fight a
why would he
heavyweight this
bulk
year,
up
it's
all
never
this
happening.
shit? That's what I'm saying. That's why, like, this fight this year, that's the fight. It has to happen, or it's never gonna.
Anything, it has to happen because or it's just not.
At this point, I don't care who it is. Throw him in there with Sergey Pavlovich, who I think might rock him, but it could be anybody. I just get in there and stop talking.
It's been
pissing me off.
years.
Yeah.
Enough. Oh, I just want to make sure. You're telling me you couldn't put on enough size and muscle in 3 years when you're already walking around at 230?
I want Aljamain and Henry Cejudo.
So that fight was like almost a done deal, but now Aljamain's saying he has a torn bicep.
Yeah, Aljamain is arguably one of the biggest. And I know he could kick my ass, but yeah, he's one of the biggest pussies in MMA. And it's like, dude, you won the title.
Off of some stupid
that didn't even look like it hurt. Yeah, maybe it hurt, whatever. But it didn't look. We've seen people come back. Yeah, we've seen people come back from way worse.
How are you gonna look the ref dead in the eye and go? He asked the ref something, and then he goes, "Oh, like you're so full of it."
He's like basically like, do I win if this happens? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the second fight with Piotr. Okay, cool, you won.
I still thought Piotr won the first 3.
It's whatever. At least
came on straight.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was. Yeah, but with that, okay, sure, I'll just give you that win. It's more decisive than that first one. How did you not put out a one-armed TJ Dillashaw in the first round? You could have taken his arm and jiggled it, and he would have tapped. Yeah. I don't understand. And as much as I don't like Henry Cejudo because he is kind of douchey, I still think that, much like wrestling, MMA needs bad guys.
I think Henry Cejudo might be too small against Aljo, though.
Maybe. Because Aljo is a big.
But I want to see it. I want to see it. And Henry Cejudo's talking all that shit. So
in that division,
and if anybody gets.
If you're not going to fight, shut the fuck up. Just like Conor. If you're not going to fight, shut up.
Or I'll take Henry Cejudo and Sean O'Malley. I'll take that.
Yeah. I think the fight I want to see the most in that division this year, granted, if Cheeto wins against Sandhagen, it's Cheeto and Sean.
Yeah. We need a rematch.
No injuries.
If Corey Sandhagen beats Cheeto, he needs to fight Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, I guess that's the winner.
Because Sean O'Malley's going to fight someone with a similar style and the same height.
That's the perfect scenario. Winner of Cheeto and Sandhagen faces Sean for the interim belt, because who knows when Aljo's coming back. There you go.
I'm happy with that.
Or how about they do, if Aljo's going to be out for an extended time, the winner of Cheeto and Sandhagen fights the winner of Sugar Sean and Henry Cejudo. Make them all 4 fight. Or all...
Yeah, just do like a little mini tournament for the number one contender. Yeah.
That'd be fun. I love that. I love that.
Bantamweight's pretty interesting. I'd say it's one of the better divisions right now. Like with the top 10 at Bantamweight's pretty good.
Yeah.
A fight we need to see? I'm trying to think.
I think we got to see Yuri Glover too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But that's if he gets past Jamal Hill, which I don't think he will.
Ankalaev versus Glover should have been the fight. That should have been. What Dana did to him was so dirty.
Well, Glover. Oh, you mean like when?
For the belt.
Like that night, or
no? After what happened.
But I don't think Ankalaev would be ready. He wouldn't. That was a pretty big war he had with Jan.
Yeah, his leg is a little messed up, but that's it.
But to turn around and fight in a month.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Dana didn't have to make the fight in a month. He kind of just did that.
Because let's be honest, Glover, if he gets what's his name to the ground, it's done.
Oh, imagine just a fun.
Jamal Hill jumps from ranked like 9th to the champion.
That'd be ridiculous.
That just proves how bad the light heavyweight division is.
But that brings me DraftKings, if you place your first bet or whatever, you get like a bunch of $200 in free bets.
Brought to you by DraftKings. So go ahead.
So I just bet $5 on like some NFL games last week just to get the $200 bets because I was planning on using those for UFC future champion bets.
Yeah.
So like at the end of the year, who's going to be the champ?
Yeah.
I put Yuri because I think winner of Glover or Jamal is going to fight Yuri later in the year, and I think Yuri beat either of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yuri's
So,
nasty.
That's why I think the only thing that scares me. So I think it's a smart bet.
I want
because
Yuri John Jones.
I don't
Fuck
think
it. If John Jones is not going to heavyweight.
right, but I don't think Yuri would be ready to fight until like October, November. So I
Yeah.
feel like that gives me like leniency because like that'd be the one fight, and then
If
they won't fight for the rest of the
Yuri
year. But
rematches Glover and takes his time, I think he can get him out of there in the first or second
yeah,
round.
quicker, yeah.
He was throwing a lot of crazy dumb shit that kept allowing Glover to get
To
good
get back
positions.
into it, yeah.
But then Glover did the same thing at the end of the fight. So.
Well, then there's also the possibility that Glover might win the belt and just retire on top. Because
Let's hope. I'm just kidding.
He said that he had like 1 or 2 fights left.
Yeah.
If he loses to Jamal Hill, he's definitely retiring. I feel like, especially he's gonna be in Brazil, perfect place to.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm going for Jamal Hill then. Come on.
Well, that's what I'm
Retire
saying,
that
like-
Get
old
his old
fat-
ass out of there.
Say Jamal Hill wins the belt, fights Yuri in October. I think Yuri wins because Jamal Hill's not even as close or as good a striker as Yuri. So
And
I feel
definitely
like-
is not as good on the ground.
So I feel like that was a pretty smart bet for me to put Yuri as the end of the year champ.
You know why light heavyweight sucks now? I was thinking about this.
It's just inconsistent.
It's a bunch of heavyweights cutting too much weight, so we get all these out of shape light heavyweights. Because think about it, when Chuck and Lyoto and them were all fighting at light
They're just
heavyweight,
like drinking beer and just hitting
well,
each other.
None
Like,
of
they're just
them
like-
were as big as the guys are now. The guys in light heavyweight now are fucking huge.
Yeah, you're like, what? This
It's
is
'cause
like
they were all
6'4"?
trying to-
You're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
They were all trying to bash John Jones. But
Yeah.
Yuri and Glover, they went pretty hard. Didn't really get tired.
Well, that's different.
I think they're meant for that weight. Like they're meant for that. weight.
Glover, that's his only strength, is grappling and cardio. He
He's like, I'm
gets-
gonna punch you until you get, or you're gonna punch me until you get tired, and then I'm
Yes.
gonna choke you out. Like,
That happened
or unless
too
you're,
much.
unless you're Anthony Smith, and I'm just gonna knock out your fucking teeth.
That was,
Anthony
crazy.
Smith was piecing him up in the first and second round, and then
and
he
you
just
got
gassed
taken down.
again.
And yeah.
Who else? Oh my
Jan
God.
Blachowicz is a big motherfucker too.
Yeah, he is.
I
We
will
saw
give
that
that fight
with
with
Israel
Glover.
Adesanya.
He straight up beat Jan. Glover did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jan didn't get tired. Nothing. He just took him down, did his
Beat
thing.
him, yeah.
But oh man, I'm trying to think of other fighters that almost
I
beat.
mean, I don't want to say Ratchik is very big though. He's not one of the huge guys.
He's huge. He's like 6'5". He probably walks
Is
around
he? I thought he was shorter than
230.
Jan.
No.
I mean, his legs are can't. Maybe he should go down a weight because his legs can't hold all that weight.
Ankalaev is a natural light heavyweight. He's not that big.
Ankalaev, yeah. He should have been champ. He won that fight.
He won that fight, and then they screwed him over. They're like, "Yeah, Glover and Jamal Hill." Ankalaev was like, "What the fuck? What do I get?"
What do I gotta do to
Yeah.
this fucking belt? It's
I can't believe that
ridiculous.
was a draw. I thought he clearly won.
That's
the last
another.
three,
That's another topic
clearly.
we can talk about is the fucking judges in MMA.
The judges are terrible right now. It's a big discussion.
That
like,
might have been the worst year for judging in MMA.
It's up there, yeah. It is up there.
They're bad.
I don't think any was as bad as Patty and fucking Charles Jourdain. I mean, not Charles Jourdain. Is it?
No, Jordan is the guy that
Yeah, it's Jordan. Oh my God, what the heck is his name?
I can't remember his name, but he won that fight.
Easily,
I
think 3 rounds.
Yeah, I don't know what
At the least 2, but 3
But I'm
rounds.
sitting. I agree because when I watched it, I was like, I don't see where anybody thought that this guy won.
I don't understand how.
They
He
just
had
wanna-
the more
they just
pressure.
want-
He had the more control. He landed more strikes.
They want to make another Conor McGregor so
So
fucking bad.
But that's
And
that's
Sugar
the
Sean is
thing,
not-
though. Connor. The thing that made Connor blow up was he was starching guys. He was
Yeah.
beating them. It wasn't even close. Patty's having tough times with these nobody fighters. And Connor was steamrolling these people, steamrolling Dustin Poirier. It just doesn't make.
They're doing the
I
same
don't
thing
know
with
how.
Sean O'Malley.
Yeah,
The Peter Yan fight, he easily won.
I would say the Patty one was worse than the.
But
that was
Patty,
the worst robbery.
Well,
Yes.
yeah. But Patty and Sugar Sean, they're struggling already. They didn't have the skyrocket career, knocking everybody out, and they're not as funny. I mean, Connor's not funny anymore, but back then he was hilarious.
Well, I think Patty's pretty funny,
He's
but he's
funny
not
in a different
He's not
way.
a jerk. Yeah, he's not a jerk.
He's
about
not a
it.
shit talker.
Yeah.
He's like a jokester kind of. Connor was like
Yeah,
shit
Patty
talking
the
people.
fatty.
Yeah.
Fucking love Patty. Like,
I don't think.
Sugar Sean he's getting out shit talked by Henry Cejudo. Like he's
Have
not
you
the
seen
next
some
one.
of them gyms?
Yeah,
They're pretty
yeah.
good.
And Henry Cejudo is the king of cringe, which is
Yeah.
crazy. And you're like, who the hell's writing for you, Henry?
Yeah.
Because you're not smart enough to come up with this stuff. I'm
Right.
sorry, but
That was
you're
just
not.
so funny when he was Sugar Sean's like, "Shut up and make me a burrito." He was like, "All right," and then I'll give it to the refs and they'll give it to you.
Yeah, he said, "I'll make one for Piotr Jan, and then the rest
Yeah,
will
we'll
give it to you." There's another one. What was the other funny one he had?
I can't remember.
Oh, man, it was like right before that burrito one, but it was good. But yeah, it's
He's like, hey, Sugar, you look like Doug Reamer from basketball.
I feel like only a select few people are getting that joke though.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Boom, out there at
Hopefully
YouTube.
our couple fans we get off this too. Just kidding. But yeah, so those are like most
Are
of
we
the
going to talk about
fights.
Dana smacking his wife?
Yeah, we can touch on that.
Like he did his wife. Boom! Boom!
3 times.
So I don't know, man. This has kind of been bothering me a lot. More, I'm not surprised that there's nothing happening, but it's still like the reaction of it. Because if this was Roger Goodell, if this was Adam Silver, if this was
We would
any,
be so surprised if they had wives.
if this was any just like team owner, they'd be done.
Yeah, how
It'd be over.
do players and fighters?
They would have to sell they'd be pressured to sell their team or step down or whatever.
I don't know, because like Vince took Stephanie. Remember, he kidnapped her, and then he did like a bunch of stuff with Linda. I'm just saying, we.
Okay, but
No, I'm just
the first like legit stuff comes out about Vince. They made him step.
Oh
down.
yeah, they're like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Any
but the
excuse
difference-
to get this guy out of here.
The difference is Vince owns the majority of WWE still, so he was able to do this shit where he came back. Dana doesn't own any.
Yeah, he's just the
majority of-
spokesman.
Yeah,
or,
It's
yeah.
because the new owners
But
don't
the
have any.
The
idea.
owners love him. They're his management team.
Oh wow.
So they don't.
I didn't know
the
that.
fact that they didn't even come out and say anything about it, they're just staying quiet on it. And then ESPN pissed me off the most because if this was how many players, NBA players?
Oh
NFL
yeah,
players,
for sure.
They tear them apart about any little thing like this. But then they had the audacity to say, "We don't like to judge people in their lowest moment."
What
Are
the
you
fuck?
joking?
The same people who
Ray
showed the Ray
Rice?
Rice video. I was just
Over
yeah.
and over, the people that were just chastising Kyrie Irving for posting that movie link are saying we don't condone someone for hitting his wife on camera. It
Which,
just doesn't
by the
make-
way,
it's
him saying
annoying.
that it's never happened before, full of shit. Because
Yeah.
they started swinging. He came up because she was crying or something, and he was like trying to see what was wrong, and she just immediately whap, and then no hesitation, just 3 times while someone's trying to break them up. Oh, it never happens.
Yeah.
No one who's that comfortable with hitting
The
each
fact
other.
that if this happened to one of his fighters, freaking what's his name, Violent Bob Ross.
Oh yeah,
Gone
yeah. He was
instantly.
gone. Yeah.
But just because he's the boss, nothing happens, and he comes out and says, "My punishment is being known as this the
Oh,
rest of
shut
my
the
career."
fuck up.
Oh my god, he's still making his stupid Friday food videos, whatever that shit is, where
Yeah.
he eats stupid things.
Yeah.
He's still doing the worst timing ever to start a power slap thing, and he's still.
Maybe that was promotion for his new Power Slap show.
That's the thing is TBS delayed it a week. That was their response. Is they were like, "We'll start it next week. Let this
People
die
will
down a
forget
bit."
about this. The president of the UFC smacking their wife.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That's actually kind of it's bad, but it's funny. Like
I actually commented on his video. He was like, "Oh, it got
Oh,
delayed,
shit.
but Power Slap is coming." I was like, "Didn't that premiere on New Year's Eve?"
That's just like it's just like ridiculous how much he can get away with. But then he's been on record many times saying, "You don't come back from hitting a woman."
He's like, I never left. Boom.
Yeah, I can't come back. If
Yeah, you
never
can't come
leave.
back if you don't leave.
It is
Well, that was the
shitty.
thing. He was like, "What punishment do you want? Me to leave for 6 months? The UFC would be hurting without me." No, they would not. Dana White could leave, and the product would be just fine.
Yeah,
so
It's the fighters, the fights that people are watching now. The UFC name
I think he
is
means.
bigger than Dana White.
I think he means because the company that now owns the UFC, they have no clue how to run an MMA organization.
But
They're the ones that originally made
Dana's
that.
barely running it. Hunter Campbell is the guy who's actually running it. He's doing all the business stuff. Him and Sean Shelby make the matchmaking. Dana's just the face.
I guess. Well,
Like, I'm sure Dana has some say in some matchmaking
but this is the
and
thing.
stuff.
I don't
but-
think he should be banned permanently.
I guess
People
not,
make mistakes. I think in today's society,
but like you said,
we're so
before,
quick
Should've
to
closed the
cancel
fist, huh?
them. That-
Sorry.
That's another thing.
If he closed the fist,
No, I'm just
that would have been like...
That's another thing, though. Someone said, "Oh my God, what'd they say? If you could redo something," he said, "Well, if I could redo it, I would have stayed home on New Year's Eve. Not, I wouldn't have hit my wife." He said, "I would have stayed home on."
I would have stayed home, hit her at home.
Yeah,
Yes.
basically.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
weird.
that's shitty. But anyway, my point is, in today's society, people do one thing. Like, when people were digging up Kevin Hart's past tweets and he called someone that homophobic slur, and
Which one was that? I'm just sorry. Go ahead.
he gets canceled, and it's like, people aren't allowed to make mistakes anymore. You do one thing, canceled. You're done. You're finished.
Well, my
Okay,
whole thing.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But the thing that there's no repercussions.
That's I was gonna
what
say.
does that tell? Like, you have a whole female
Yeah.
roster. Like, you're just telling me.
For
they
and
can
I
get
didn't even
hit.
think of that either. You have a whole female roster
Yeah.
that you're literally just saying, "Hey, the head of your company is okay with domestic violence and
Yeah.
you getting whooped on."
Yeah.
It was bad enough when the Greg Hardy experiment.
No, he's not okay
Right?
with
Yeah.
it unless he's doing it.
Or
That's
unless it's
crazy.
will get you views or whatever.
But that's the thing, like, it should be at least 6 months to a year suspension without pay. Period.
And he shouldn't be out of the limelight. Get his face out of here.
Because this shows he does not want a punishment. That's why.
Of course not.
Oh, it's enough punishment. Shut the fuck up. He doesn't care. He's laughing in his fucking giant mansion with his billions of
He's
dollars.
laughing in the press conference that he's talking about
Yeah.
the slap. He's like, "What do you want the punishment to be? You think me should be punished? No, I'm God."
Yeah.
Yes, it's like I think that you should be on the series finale of your slap show, and Francis Ngannou should come
yeah, he gets
and
the
give
slap.
and you guys go. I'm gonna be fair. You get to hit him first. I'm gonna be fair, but just to let you know, he's gonna get 3 on you.
Oh,
Yeah.
another thing I want to talk about. All you piece of shit rednecks that are
Defending him?
defending him.
Even
his wife
he-
hit him first. She's like 130 pounds, 5'2".
He's like 220, jacked.
Yeah, he's jacked. He used to be a boxer. He's
And
like
he's
6'2".
on roids now too.
Yeah.
Jeez, man, this is just not looking good for him.
But
This is-
nothing's gonna happen. That's the thing.
This
No
is
matter
stupid.
how bad it looks, nothing's gonna
That's
happen.
crazy.
I say we cut off his internet. That's or we hide all of his chargers, and every time he buys another one, we take it. That's some cold shit right there. That's right.
That's just like, yeah.
there
It's
needs to
been
be
a
a
big thing
punishment,
about that.
but there also needs to be a fair punishment.
Like I said, give
Everyone's thing-
Francis Ngannou 3 slaps. Give
Yeah.
him a 3
That would
slaps.
be- I
Just a
would love
whap,
that.
like a
That'd be
grab
good,
by
yeah.
like the shirt collar and just a whap, 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 like done.
On TV.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Real, not that Nate Diaz fake bullshit.
No,
Yeah,
I
nailed
want
that.
the series finale of his
full-blown-
slap show.
Just one of those big, huge. buff
Like, you know when
guys he has on
Francis
his slap ring.
Ngannou in Jackass
fucking
4, where he just blasts that dude in the cup? I want that, but like a slap to
Yeah.
fuck Dana White. That would be
3
nice.
of them.
Pow.
Even if he gets knocked out, they gotta wake him up. Yeah,
He just
take
lies
2
on the
more.
ground.
Well, I hope he gets knocked out with the first one, woken up with the backhand, and then put back to sleep with the third one.
I mean,
And with Francis doing that gets paid $2 million.
Yeah,
He just
yeah.
come back to-
Yeah, he gets paid out for his current contract and signs another one. This would be great. Everybody wins, well, except for Dana, but we all win, which is great. Oh man, I don't know who we have to send a letter to get this rolling, but that
Right.
would be great.
but yeah, I mean, a punishment should definitely happen, but it should be fair. Everyone's conclusion to fire him, get rid of him, cancel him. It's like, it's too far. People make a joke. A comedian makes a fucking joke. But suspend him or something. Why you gotta cancel him?
How about a
no
light-
more show?
how about a
Why?
light-
That's
Stabbing, just a light stabbing, like nothing like too crazy, but just like a couple pokes.
Right.
Yeah, about an inch deep. Gentle.
right in his ribs.
Yeah, just.
Alright. Well, I'm glad we
that's
touched on
too
that.
much.
I feel
I
like
feel it
can't talk
woozy.
about MMA right now without talking about that.
Yeah, I
Good
feel
we
like
got
I
that out
had
of the
to,
way.
had to
But
get that out of the way.
I guess now we can talk about UFC finally back after a month.
Oh, thank God.
Ugh,
Need it
been a
back in my
while.
life.
It took a couple hits already. It's kind of...
Yeah, because it's Sean
It started
Strickland.
It started off a decent card. Like, we even had Jeff Neal versus Shamkat Rachmanov.
Oh man.
That fight's now rescheduled for like April, I think.
Damn.
And then the Sean, I was excited to see because
finally.
he took a break for a while, which I think he needed, and I wanted to see if he could come back and maybe get to his old self. We don't get that. Instead, we get Sean Strickland versus Imavov at 205.
I just don't
And
understand.
Imavov came in at 194, and Sean Strickland's 204.
Why didn't they just make it like 190 catch weight?
Yeah, I don't.
Make him cut at least a little weight.
I know.
I will say, when we were talking about how MMA needs bad guys, or when I was saying MMA needs bad guys, I am happy for Sean Strickland, because he is kind of one of those douchey people that I'm like, God, you're such a douche. I can't wait to see you get knocked out. And then when it happens, it's very super satisfying.
I did hear what he said about Andrew Tate, though. Made me laugh, because he was like, I thought he was the kind of person that'd be on Andrew Tate's side, but he's like, no, that guy's a fucking idiot. He was like, he better hope I never see him in the street. And he was like, because I'll fucking straight up whoop his ass. And someone was like, yeah, he used to be a kickboxer. He was like, used to be, and he wasn't even that good and shit like that.
I mean, I feel like anybody.
But he said that alpha male bullshit is so dumb. He was like, who wants you to go around like acting like a dick all the time? No one wants that. Oh, I'm tough. He was like, shut the fuck up. I was
Well,
like,
I just want to be like, do you ever look in the mirror, bro?
I mean, the
Like,
fact that
apparently he sits at home all day.
the fact that Andrew Tate is being tried for human trafficking,
And people are still defending
yeah,
him.
if you were in the limelight and you defended him, yeah, that's something that deserves cancellation. Because
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
understand I don't understand the whole Andrew Tate getting famous. I don't get it. It's like you could just be famous for being a douche.
Yeah,
I guess he
you
was like
just
a
say dumb shit now.
kickboxer or whatever before.
No one
Who's
knew who he
I
was.
was a champion
Yeah,
kickboxer.
That's the one
Shout
fight.
out SpongeBob.
That's the one fight they were teasing that I would 100% rooted for Jake Paul.
Oh, Jake
Oh,
Paul
yeah.
versus Andrew Tate?
I would've gone
Hell
for
yeah.
Jake.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Andrew Tate is a legit piece of shit human being. I mean, so is Jake, but Andrew Tate's worse.
Yeah. Jake Paul's just like a douchey,
He's just
dumbass
dumb.
kid.
Yeah, he's dumb.
Yeah. But Andrew Tate's like a literal human garbage piece of shit. He's human trafficking people. Like,
That's ridiculous.
But so who do you guys got in that main event? Sean Strickland, Imavov.
Oh my god, not the fans.
It depends. If Sean Strickland can go in there and do what he used to do.
I think I'm a little.
Ever since he got knocked out, well,
He's
no,
very.
his
tentative.
backwards jab shit, it's not going to win him any fights.
No. I'm just worried about the size difference though.
I feel like if he comes in with a killer instinct, like if he actually just comes in to do what to do what he needs to do, then I think he's gonna win. Like I honestly think that he'll put him out like second round. But that's honestly if he comes correct.
Yeah.
But
I don't think the size difference is going to be that much because I don't think it's a good size difference. I think Sean Strickland's a little out of shape.
yeah,
That's true,
and a little
that's true.
little
He's
pudgy and
saving up
slower.
hard, yeah. I mean, honestly, like I don't even like. We don't even have to spend a lot of time talking about this card because it's not that great. But it's just the fact that we finally get to watch some fights.
Yeah, I'm excited to.
If Jeff
I mean,
Neal was on there,
we
I'd
still
be
got-
excited.
Yeah, if the Jeff Neal is Shavkat fight,
God, I
because
wish.
that freaking Shavkat is getting some hype too. But we still got 50K Dan Ige fighting Raquel Pennington.
Oh, I love Raquel.
Yeah.
Love Raquel.
That Umar Nurmagomedov could be his like younger cousin or some whatever.
Yeah, all Nurmagomedovs are related, but like not.
Oh man, I just realized there's a bunch of there's 4 canceled fights. 'Cause
Oh,
there was supposed to be another girl fight.
what's the pay-per-view this
What
month?
the hell was it? The pay-per-view.
Is that the Brandon Moreno?
Yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
Glover Jamal Hill and then Brandon Moreno Figueiredo. That's next Saturday.
Woo!
Oh, it was man. There's a lot of canceled fights on this one. Sajara Eubanks versus fucking what the hell is her name?
Angela Hill.
No.
I always just assume it's Angela Hill because she fights all the time.
Right. No, I can't. What the hell is her damn name? I know we know who she is. Let me see. What card am I on right now?
Yeah, tomorrow's card's not very great.
It's not, but like I said, at least
Well-
it's some fights. But
Yeah.
I can't find her fucking name. What the fuck?
The pay-per-view should have been the first fight of the month.
It really should have been.
I mean,
it really should
before
have
all
been.
these fights started, like
Dropping out,
dropping
and this
out.
would have been a pretty decent
Yeah.
Yeah.
card, but
Anyway, like there's like 6 canceled fights on here. But,
it's ridiculous.
yeah.
Off to a great start.
But hopefully we get some good finishes at least or something entertaining.
Yeah, something that we can fucking talk about. That would be
Yeah.
great.
Dana White cursed MMA for this year.
Dude, this year's it's
Going
starting off
into
pretty
smacking his wife and not getting any punishments, and now we're getting all these fight cancellations.
Fight
Stephen
cancellations.
I wonder if you got a fight of the night bonus for that.
bad. I wonder if
That bouncer was like, man, that was fucking.
That was pretty cool.
nice.
Here's that 50K.
Yeah,
in
that
some
was nice right
countries,
hand.
the slap landed as soon as it hit midnight.
Yeah, that's how we ring in the new year in the White House. Just pow.
Alright,
It keeps you humble.
another thing I think we get to talk about is the Vince McMahon and selling the company bullshit.
I'm so
The fact that the Saudi thing was
tease.
it was like, yeah, it wasn't real is very good news, but I also think they did it intentionally to gauge reaction, and everyone went like ballistic. So they
It would have ruined it.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't do that, but it's
That
still the
would've-
fact that they were thinking.
It's like,
about
oh no, Jinder Mahal's gonna be champ again. Dang it.
That
But
would
no,
have ruined
like-
WWE 100%.
Yeah,
that would have
the
been the end
fact
of it.
yeah, because then they were also going to make it a
Well,
private.
Vince was ruining it already.
He
Like,
was,
his-
but I mean, those.
Well, so supposedly Triple H is still head of creative. Like, I guess Triple H had a meeting with the talent today before SmackDown and, like, said, like, reassured them, like, Vince is just here to facilitate the sale of the company. Creative is staying how it is. Crossing my fingers.
yeah,
but
hopefully.
Vince changes shit whenever he wants, because
It
I hope whoever sells it to doesn't let Vince stay in command.
No, I don't.
Because everyone thinks that's what he's trying to get.
The
Like,
Saudis
sell to
would've
someone who lets him
100%.
stay in, like, a Dana White role.
See, I hope not, because he's just past the point of him doing anything good for the company. His image is tarnished.
Tarnished.
It's
His
gone.
booking is
senile.
trash.
Yeah, he's senile or something.
Yeah, and he's still, which is crazy because he's not even trying to go back to the Attitude Era. He's still stuck in the fucking 80s. It's crazy. These big guys are gonna rule fucking everything, and the small guys get nothing, even though these small guys can fucking work circles around half these guys. And then you just like these people because they look a certain way. Or like, how many fucking times have we seen a blonde get pushed that can't wrestle? And you're like, oh my fucking god, I get it, you have a fetish, but just keep it out of our wrestling.
How long he tried the Roman Reigns babyface thing? Years. We didn't like it, but he's like, no, yes you do.
And the
You
fact
like
that
it.
everyone was saying, turn Roman heel and it would be good.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. Then they finally do it and everyone's like, yeah, Roman's good. This is great. This is what we wanted the whole time.
It was
It's
like
the
John
fact
Cena
that-
all over again. It's like, dude, you
Oh my
can't
god,
have
dude.
John
I was
Cena
really
all over
hoping
again.
that match he just came back for, he teamed with Kevin Owens. I
Yeah.
was so hoping he was going to turn on Kevin Owens and they were going to work that into an angle of Kevin versus Cena at Mania. Because that's where Kevin debuted, was against Cena, so like full circle moment.
That would have been dope. That would have been dope.
And like just give Cena the heel run that he's wanted for so long.
This whole thing just makes me realize I don't think Vince. Everyone's like, Vince is a genius. The hell he is.
I think he got a lot of stuff.
He was
handed
he
to
was
him.
running the 80s wrestling into the ground. He was running early 90s wrestling into the ground.
Until he
And
gave the reins over to the wrestlers.
The wrestlers made it great. More than, I mean, yeah, he probably did have
He
you know
did
some
some stuff, yeah.
stuff.
Well, he is arguably one of the greatest bad guys ever in wrestling.
Yeah.
Because without him, you don't get it's the Stone Cold stuff. You just don't. Stone
I'll agree
Cold.
with that.
Stone Cold just isn't. I would say he'd still be big, but Vince McMahon took him to a whole
But then
other level.
look what he did when the Attitude Era started winding down before Ultimate Aggression. He was doing all these dumb fucking storylines. Like the invasion angle did it completely wrong. His constant
I wonder who the fuck came up with that Mae Young fucking Mark Henry shit.
yeah.
I wonder who the fuck came up with that.
His like persistence trying to force women to do bra and panties match, spanking match, all this dumb shit no one wants to see. I mean, don't
Speak for yourself, because though it might seem inappropriate and tasteless, and I say, who asked you? Who asked you? Nobody asked your opinion on bra and panties matches. Shut your mouth.
or the midget thing.
Just shut your mouth
Yeah.
and know your role.
The midget thing, he's weird with that. He's like, oh, little, I'm gonna send him out there.
It's so
If I've said it
funny.
once, I've said it a million times. Who asked you guys? This is amazing stuff. We need small Kurt Angle. Like, no, I'm just kidding. No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
What are your thoughts on him trying to push the incest storyline on Stephanie?
Yeah, how
Oh
much
man!
wanted that? And
Oh
then,
man! How much time do you have? Because I have some very strong / controversial opinions. Some say it started the Pornhub trend.
Oh,
So
Well, the fact
No.
that she said no, he's like, okay, how about you and Shane? No, like I don't want to kiss my brother. I don't want to kiss you. It's fucking weird.
Yeah,
All right.
you're like-
okay, fair enough. Okay, how many times are you gonna flick his leg? Just
It's just fuzz.
He had a bug on his leg. I was trying to get it off.
It was just fuzz.
I'm pissed.
no, and I agree with like Vince has like a lot of like weird storylines where you're just like, what
And
the fuck are
The
you
fact
thinking?
that he
It's
always
disgusting.
had to have himself be like, oh, I'm so strong and girls love me. Like, no, you're a creepy weirdo.
Yeah.
Sable in real life would not ever make out with you. Either
no
with Trish
chance
Stratus-
in hell. Like
You got no chance.
Yeah, well, see, and then there's now, speaking of no chance, there's a rumor that Tony Khan and his dad are going to try to buy WWE and merge it with AEW. I'm like, there no chance in hell is Vince going to sell to his competition. None. He did that to WCW. That's one of his crowning achievements.
yeah, he's never
gonna
going to do that. Like you would have to buy it from whoever buys it from him.
Well, the fact that Vince wants to sell it just because he is such a fucking baby.
Yeah,
he
It's
can't
doing
watch his
good
product.
without me.
Yeah.
Yeah, better morale, better
Yeah.
viewership, better fan reaction, and he's like, no, I'm gonna sell it.
I'm a so
Yeah, if it's not me, we're trashing
Yeah.
it. And you're
if
like,
it's
dude,
not me, no one.
You're a bitch. You're such a
Like,
bitch.
why can't you let your daughter have success now? Your son-in-law have success now. You did it for 80 years.
he's like, they wouldn't have been married if I didn't write it in the storyline. Good God.
I would not be shocked if he honestly believed that.
And he's like, okay, hear me out. He's like, hear me out, Hunter, because he still calls him Hunter. So he's like, hear me out. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take my daughter, you're gonna drug her, you're gonna take her, you're gonna get married, and then you're gonna have sex with her.
He's like, wait, but we are married. What?
He's like, okay, well, second plan, we're gonna do it on camera. And you're like, whoa, just like
We're
Jesus
gonna
Christ.
do it for an angle in the wrestling. So wait, the first one wasn't. What are you saying?
I don't know.
Yeah, just hear me out.
And then I'll kiss her. What?
Like, what the fuck, Vince? This is crazy. And then Mae Young's gonna come out and she's gonna birth a hand. Like,
that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. You know, Vince came up with that.
Yeah.
Mark
Vince-
Henry didn't go up and say, "Hey, let me have sex with Mae Young," and she gives birth to a hand.
he's like, God damn it, Mark Henry, that's a great idea. Roll with it.
And then really, Mark
Mike
Henry.
Henry.
Yeah, Mike Henry.
Really, Mark Henry was like, "Hey, could I me and D'Lo Brown? You know, we worked a good match. Can we have another one tonight? Actually, you and Mae Young having sex."
He's like, actually,
What?
do you work here?
First things first. Who the hell are you?
Yeah, who the hell are
Who
you?
in the blue hell?
Oh, God.
Right,
I hate you, Vince. I hope you listen to this and die shortly after. I said it. Fight me.
Vince is not. I don't think he's as great as people say he is.
No, I think, like I said, when it comes to like wrestling and stuff, I think the wrestler saved him. Every single time, the wrestler saved him. Like, I don't know what extent he had in character developments for some of these people, but yeah, if it's not for The Rock and Austin and all these other people that he let, or when you watch like Mankind's documentary, when they were like, oh, they gave him a bunch of like names and stuff, and he's like, that's dog shit. Like,
That's
I'm
so
not
dumb.
I'm not gonna be
So
that. How about
Hulk
I'm
did the
just
same thing.
Mankind? Yeah, what was it? It was like Ivan Von Strangle or
Yeah.
some bullshit, and he's like, I'm not gonna be that dumb shit.
Yeah.
That's so
I
stupid.
wish more guys would have stood up to Vince instead of just accepting shit gimmicks. But
Well, and that's why because I feel like Stone Cold talks out about him a little bit, but even then he still is like, yeah, Vince is amazing, you know. But the Undertaker's the biggest fucking on his knees, rug burn.
Well, because if you sit there and you think of Undertaker as a character, you're like, no way should that have fucking worked. No fucking way. Especially with a fat, arguably creepy pedophile that's just, yes. And you're like, that should have never worked. That should have
I don't
never
know, the
worked.
Undertaker's
Even in the
character, I feel,
80s.
was in the 80s, like the undead guy, like he was scary, tall.
Wow, people from the 1980s are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you guys.
Hulk
You guys
Hogan
are
and-
fucking dumb.
Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior being as big as they were, for what? For going,
I'm not selling anybody's moves because I'm a fucking douche. God.
even Hulk Hogan hates the Ultimate Warrior. Hulk Hogan the most dislikable guy hates the Ultimate Warrior. Even he's like, oh yeah, he was hell to work with. That's saying something coming from Hulk Hogan. Like, Ultimate Warrior was, he might have been a good, he wasn't even a good human being. He was a piece of shit. I don't care if he's dead.
Like, we're almost gonna give him some props and then just no,
I don't even care.
Because then I remembered the whole anti-gay, anti-black stuff.
Oh, that's right. When he was running for like governor or some shit. Yeah, what a douche. I forgot all about that. And I wasn't a big Ultimate Warrior fan either. Just fucking shake the ropes. That's the most exciting
lame,
dumb shit.
man.
And then your finisher was the
bad, but that splash,
the body splash,
terrible.
that is so stupid.
Terrible.
Maybe if it was from like Yokozuna or something, yeah.
And
I don't want 400 pounds.
He jumps like 2 feet in the air and then just like
He just falls on you. He's like,
yeah, it's fucking
Yeah, at least Big E gets up there.
yeah.
Biggie, his looks pretty good at least.
Yeah, he does like a standing frog splash, like
And at least
blam.
Mark Henry did it like off the second rope, like.
And Mark
huge.
Henry's 400 fucking 30
That's another
pounds.
thing about Vince though. Oh, you're fat. Your move's sitting on people.
Yeah.
Well, I do a really good.
Hey,
power
yeah,
bomb.
hey Rikishi, why don't you put your ass in people's faces?
I'm telling you, behind closed doors, he's the freakiest, weird motherfucker. Vince McMahon.
I mean,
I guarantee you, he watches, like, other guys have sex with his wife. I 100% believe it.
Hey, Booker T, get in there.
I'm telling you, he's fucking weird. Who comes up with that much shit? I get, the girls...
Coach, get him some water.
The girls, like, taking off their shirts in the 90s and stuff because all the angsty teenagers watching it. But he kept it going and turning it into weird shit like the spanking match. And he's just weird.
Sounds good. Wait, what are we talking about? Sorry. Said spanking matches. I apologize.
Anyone watching this, we're not going to give props to people just because they're dead if they're a piece of shit.
Yeah, fair.
R.I.P. Macho Man.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just kidding.
I love
Just-
Macho Man.
Yeah. All right,
He was in Spider-Man.
we're
Man.
going pretty long. Have you seen that meme actually though? Not to like it's quick transition, but there's a meme going around and it's like, little do people know, but for Macho Man to play the role of
Bonesaw.
Bonesaw in Spider-Man 1, he became a professional
professional
wrestler for 25 years.
Bonesaw is ready.
You ain't going nowhere.
It's playtime.
I got you for 3 minutes.
3 minutes of
playtime. As soon as
playtime.
all ding.
With a crowbar. Like, what the fuck? That guy, when he's walking down to the ring, my legs! Oh my god, I can't feel my legs!
Yeah, he's like,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Macho Man was great in that.
I don't know how he didn't get more movie roles after
I got
that.
you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. Ding. He was fucking Spider-Man up there for a second too. Which
Those are some good earrings. Did your husband buy them for you?
He tries to jump up.
Yeah, jump up on the
Yeah.
top of the steel cane like he's gonna get that
Yeah.
fucking high.
He should have threw this chair at him.
That would have
Macho
been
Man
funny.
rules.
He does.
It would have been funny if he threw the chair and he caught it with his web, like threw it back at him.
Hit him in the
Yeah.
face. Also, Macho Man was selling like a motherfucker for that role.
Yeah, for the strength of 10 men, man, fuck Bonesaw's beating the shit out of
He
Spider-Man.
was. He just fucking smashed him on the thing.
Yeah, literally smash him against a cage.
Spider-Man can pick up a fucking
Car and shit.
dump truck in, but yet...
But yeah, it's getting worked on by Bonesaw.
Oh, my leg! That was
My
so
legs, I can't feel my
He's going-
legs.
People say wrestling's fake.
Yeah. He was fucking Spider-Man up. How's that for fake? Bonesaw was like, fake this.
You know what? I think that's a good wrap up on our first episode.
Yeah,
I think that's a pretty good
place to end it.
I think that's great. Well, I guess we'll see you next time. And remember, this episode was brought to you by Slurm. Slurm, drink the shit.
Alright, we're doing that.